Chapter 187. Ugly Person opened for business in the afternoon. This time, Sima Yue and the rest saw a different scene compared to the last time they were here. There were so many people coming in and out of the loft that the door sill was almost broken. When Sima Yue saw the words ugly person on the door, she felt like she was blind. This was probably the only place on this street that looked like this. When a shop assistant saw Sima Yue and the rest walking in, she smiled and said, "Is this your first time here at Ugly Person? Is there anything you want to buy?" "How did you know that this is our first time here?" Fatty Chu looked at the shop assistant and asked. "Hee, as shop assistants, we don't have any other skills, but we must have a good memory. We remember everyone who has come to our shop," the shop assistant said with a smile. "When I saw that you all looked unfamiliar, I guessed that this was your first time here. Do all your employees have such a good memory like you?" Sima Yue and the rest stepped through the door and saw many employees serving customers. "We all rely on this little skill to make a living," the shop assistant answered from the side. "Since it's your first time here, why don't I give you a tour of our shop?" "All right, then let's start with our medicinal pills area. This way, please." The shop assistant brought them around the first and second floors. Sima Yue realized that this place was similar to Dongchun Kingdom's Xian Yuan Pavilion. It was all-inclusive and had everything they needed. It was just that their levels were much higher. Little Two held Bei Gongtang's hand. His large eyes were overwhelmed by all these things, and he didn't even blink. "Sister, there are so many things here. You'll see even more things in the future," Bei Gongtang said with a smile. "Yes." From the elixir area to the spiritual artifact area, then to the spirit beast area, and then to the general merchandise area, it took them more than an hour to finish looking. Moreover, it was under the condition of quickly browsing. The quality of the shop assistant was really not ordinary. She took them around once, and if there were any questions, she would constantly explain to them. She was not impatient at all. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've finished touring the first and second floors. Is there anything you'd like to buy?" the shop assistant asked with a smile. They didn't lack medicinal pills or herbs, and there were a lot of spirit artifacts in the spirit pagoda that they could use at the moment. Therefore, they didn't choose any of these items. In the end, they symbolically chose some small things that were more fun. The shop assistant didn't say anything and didn't discriminate against them. Instead, he asked politely, "Is there anything else you need?" Sima Yue had already taken a close look at the prices of the pills, herbs, and spirit beasts. She had a rough idea of the market. She turned around and asked, "I heard that you also have auctions here?" The clerk immediately understood what she meant and asked, "Do you have something you want to auction?" Sima Yue nodded. "Then do you know the rules of our ugly person?" "I have a rough understanding," Wei Ziqi replied. "Since you've all understood it, I won't repeat it. If they wanted to auction something, they would have to go to the third floor. Everyone, please follow me." The shop assistant led them to the third floor. There were many rooms on the third floor. Only 2 of the rooms were occupied. The rest were empty. They came to a room, and the clerk asked, "What kind of things would you like to auction? I can invite our appraiser to appraise it for you." "Pills, magic cores, herbs." The clerk waited for them to finish before smiling. "Can you let me take a look at your things?" Sima Yue and the rest knew that this was the rule, so they immediately took out their boxes. The clerk took a quick look and confirmed that their ranks weren't low. He said, "Everyone, please wait a moment. I will invite our appraiser to appraise your things." After he finished speaking, he turned around and left the room. Not long after, he brought a middle-aged man over. "Everyone, this is our auction house's Masterly. He is a 5th-ranked alchemist." The clerk introduced. Sima Yue and the rest stood up and said, "Greetings, Masterly. I heard that you have pills and herbs to auction." Masterly wasn't as arrogant as the other alchemists. Maybe it was because he was under the control of the higher-ups. "Yes," Wei Ziqi said, "we have herbs, magic cores, and pills." "Then let's do it one by one." Masterly looked at the boxes on the table and sat down. He took out a pair of gloves and opened one of the boxes. Inside was a 1,000-year-old snow orchid grass. Masterly took the snow orchid grass and looked at it. He then placed it under his nose and sniffed it. Following that, he plucked a few leaves and placed them in his mouth. He said, 1,000-year-old snow orchid grass. It's a 4th-ranked herb, passes and can be auctioned. The starting price is 500 gold coins. This was just a random herb that Fatty Chu had taken from the Spirit Pagoda. He didn't think that it would be that good. He was just here to join the fun. He could still accept this price. Since there are no objections, this is your corresponding number. You can use this to participate in the auction. A serving girl who had followed Masterly took down half of a token and handed it to Fatty Chu. The second item was also a herb. After Masterly appraised it, he gave Wei Ziqi a token. Ouyang Fei's item was a magic ore. Masterly showed a trace of interest for the first time after appraising the 2 herbs. There were too many herbs. The 2 herbs just now weren't particularly precious. If it wasn't for the fact that they were much older than normal, they might not have met the requirements. However, Ouyang Fei's item was different. When Masterly opened it, he realized that it was a divine beast magic core. What kind of concept was a divine beast magic core? It was equivalent to killing a spirit saint expert and taking their heart. Furthermore, magic cores were not something that all spirit beasts had. Currently, the market was filled with saint beasts magic cores. Divine beast magic cores were still in the market. This is a level 1 divine beast magic core. Master Li was indeed experienced and knowledgeable. He quickly recognized the origin of the magic core. That's right. Ouyang Fei understood ugly person quite well. He never doubted their power. Good. Level 1 divine beast magic core. It's a level 2 magic core. Passes. The starting price is 2,000 gold coins. This is your number token. Ouyang Fei took the token and kept it. There were 2 boxes on the table. One was Beigong Tang's, and the other was Sima Yoyue's. Masterly casually took Sima Yoyue's and opened it. There was a jade bottle lying inside. He picked up the jade bottle and felt a bone-piercing cold. His heart jumped, and he hurriedly opened it to take a look. Cold ice pill. Masterly cried out in shock. This pill was the cold ice pill that Sima Yue had just refined. Because there were many of them, she took out 2 of them. That's right. I wonder if this passes? Sima Yue asked. Of course it passes, Masterly said excitedly. This cold ice pill has a special effect and is very complicated to refine. There are 2 herbs that are extremely special and not easy to obtain. Thus, there aren't many of them. It's a level 2 pill. The starting price is 5,000 gold coins. Chapter 188. Hearing 5,000 gold coins, Sima Yue didn't think it was a high price. This was only the price of a rare grade, 5 pill. However, since this was an auction, there would naturally be competition. No one could say for sure what the final outcome would be. Therefore, she had no interest in the price. This is your number tag. Masterly passed the card to Sima Yue and was about to say, Are you guys coming together? Yes. What's wrong? Because 2 of you are auctioning items of the 2nd rank and above. So if you want to participate together, we can prepare a private room for you. Masterly said. If that's the case, many thanks. Wei Ziqi and the rest did not decline. Having their own rooms was not bad. Masterly glanced at the maidservant, who immediately took out a card and handed it to Ouyang Fei. With this card, you can go to the private room with the same number. Masterly said. We'll come on time. Ouyang Fei said as he put away the card. With the matter settled, the items were handed over to the auction house for safekeeping. Everyone stood up and prepared to leave. Mister, please wait. Masterly called out to Sima Yue. What's the matter, Masterly? Excuse me, did you refine this frost ice pill? Sima Yue smiled and shook her head, saying, No, my master made it. May I ask who your master is? Master is a low-key person. She doesn't like us using her name to travel outside. If that's the case, I'm sorry for being presumptuous. Masterly smiled apologetically. After Sima Yue and her group left, Masterly instructed the servant girl, spread the news about the frost pill and the divine beast magic core. Yes, stewardly. The maidservant bowed and retreated. It turned out that Masterly was not only an appraiser of the Ugly Person auction house, but he was also a manager here. With the exception of Ugly Person, Fatty Chu lamented the difference. The ingredients that he had taken out were only 500 gold coins, while Sima Yuyue's cold ice pill was 5,000 gold coins, which was 10 times more than his. You should be content with what you have. What you have is only a medicinal ingredient. The medicinal ingredients needed for the cold ice pill are much more precious than what you have. If it wasn't for the fact that you took out a 1,000-year-old medicinal ingredient, not to mention 500, it would already be pretty good to give you 50. Wei Ziqi said with a smile. No matter what, it should be 100. How could it be 50? Fatty Chu said with a smile. Please wait a moment, dear guests. The shop assistant who had greeted them earlier chased after them and called out to them. What happened? Wei Ziqi asked. This is what Masterly asked me to give you. It's an item for this auction. If there's anything you want, you can also prepare in advance. The shop assistant said with a smile. Sima Yue took the list and said, Thank you. You're welcome. If there's no problem, I'll head back first. The shop assistant nodded at them and turned back to Ugly Person. This ugly person service is really not bad. Fatty Chu said, Let's go back and see if there's anything good. Sima Yue kept the auction list and got into the beast carriage that was waiting outside. The beast carriage slowly left Ugly Person, and Fatty Chu pulled open the curtains to take a look outside. He did not expect to see Qin Wan. Is that Qin Wan's entourage always so big every time she goes out? Sima Yu and the others looked out the window as well. They just happened to see a few beast carriages crowding around a luxurious beast carriage. Qin Wan came down from the beast carriage. After that, she turned around and said something. After that, a lady dressed luxuriously came down from the carriage. As if she felt that someone was looking at them, the lady looked over. Her gaze was sharp and carried a sense of arrogance. Who is that lady? What a strong aura. Fatty Chu felt a chill run down his spine after being glared at. Her strength is also very strong. Wei Ziqi said, being together with Qin Wan, she's definitely not a good person. Sima Yue said, she's obviously a lady, but her gaze is so fierce. She's definitely not someone easy to deal with. Furthermore, looking at the entourage, it should be for her. Her status is definitely not low. She's not an easy bone to chew. Ouyang Fei frowned and said, Previously, Yun Qi said that this Qin Wan is someone who will seek revenge for the smallest grievance. She has a cousin who is a princess of the West Moon Kingdom. Although her mother is only an imperial concubine, that princess's talent is extremely high and her position in the royal family is extraordinary. Even her mother's position has risen as a result. Then this person is most likely that princess. What's her name? Shi. Her talent is good. Her strength is strong, and she even has a strong background. How is it? Are you envious? Sima Yue pulled down the curtains and asked with a smile. What's there to be envious about? Fatty Chu said, We're not bad either. So narcissistic. Sima Yue patted his head. Yue, let's take a look at the auction list. Wei Ziqi said as he was more interested in the auction. Okay. Sima Yue took out the auction list and saw a long list of names and said, This auction is very big. There are actually so many things. TSK, there are tens of things right. Look, the low-ranked ones are at the front, and the high-ranked ones are at the back. There are even spirit beast eggs. Speaking of spirit beast eggs, Sima Yue thought of the time when everyone was choosing spirit beast eggs in the academy. After that, she did not hear anything about it and did not know what kind of spirit beast they chose. Where are the spirit beast eggs that you chose in the academy? Why haven't I seen your spirit beast? We don't even know what kind of spirit beast eggs we chose. We've never seen them before. Mine is still an egg. Wei Ziqi said. Ours too. They haven't even hatched yet. However, at least ours are alive. Bei Gong Tang said with a smile. Could it be that someone else's is dead? Sima Yue asked. That's right. You asked Fatty Chu where his spirit beast egg is? Ouyang Fei thought of that and also smiled. Fatty Chu, where are your eggs? I ate them. Fatty Chu said. Speaking of this, he was depressed. Everyone else's eggs were alive, but his was a dead egg. He really did not know what kind of luck he had. You ate them? Sima Yue looked at Fatty Chu in astonishment. That's right. It was a dead egg when it came out. After that, I used the things you left in the kitchen to make a fried egg and ate it. Fatty, Chu said gloomily. Yeah, we also ate a bit. Although our skills were not good, the taste of the egg was still good. Ouyang Fei said. Dash, Sima Yue burst out laughing. Seeing Fatty Chu's gloomy face, she said, It's all right. Isn't it just a spirit beast egg? It's fine if you ate it. In any case, the spirit beast that I got for you is much stronger than that egg of yours. In the Sophia mountain range, the 5 of them had worked together to capture a few spirit beasts. Sima Yue had tamed them and made them contract with them. Now, this group of people had at least 1 spirit beast contract each. There's still unknown items on this list. Wei Ziqi kept looking at the list and saw that there were some items that even the auction house did not know about. Chapter 189. Sima Yue and the others all went over. Even Little Two's little head came over. These are all things that we don't know about. Wei Ziqi pointed to the items at the bottom and said, It doesn't even have a name, just a drawing. Fatty Chu said, This kind of thing could be a treasure, or it could also be a piece of trash. Is there anything you'd like to buy after looking at these? Wei Ziqi and the rest shook their heads. They really did not lack anything now, and these things are not attractive to them. That mystic class high-tier cultivation method was not bad, but if he were to compete with the other large clans, he would definitely not be able to compete, so it was wise to forget about it. Sima Yue saw that no one had any thoughts. Although there were many treasures on the list, they were not attractive to them. After all, they were not greedy people. Since you don't have any, let's see if there's anything you want. Let's go back and wait for the auction. When they returned to the Sangul mercenary group, Sima Yue and the others went to find Bai Yinqi and told him that they wanted to go to the auction by themselves and that they didn't need to go with the mercenary group. Bai Yinqi was surprised that they wanted her to go alone, but she immediately expressed her understanding. They must have their own ideas, so she didn't say anything. After returning to her room, Sima Yue casually placed the list on the table, took off her shoes, and lay on the bed. Immerse came out of the devil's snare bracelet and took form on the table. Why did you come out? Sima Yue asked as she laid on her side and supported her head with her right hand. Immerse waved his hand, and the list opened up. A long list of names appeared in front of him. Why? Are you interested in the items in this auction? Help me buy 2 things. Immerse said. What do you like? Sima Yue asked. Colored glass bead and darkness stone. Immerse pointed at the 2 items and said. Sima Yue was so shocked that her hands almost dropped her head. She stood up and ran over barefoot, saying, Big brother, this glass bead is a treasure. The starting bid is more than 10,000 gold coins. How can I help you bid for it if it's not at least 80,000 gold coins? You don't have money? Immerse frowned. When have you ever seen me have money? Our things are all taken directly from the Spirit Pagoda. My entire family only have 1,000 gold coins. Sima Yue said, Darkness stone, what is it? Immerse pointed at the rock at the bottom that didn't have a name, only a picture. You'd have a plan, she said after glancing at it. Sima Yue assessed eyes. Sima Yue said Yue. Yue, T, Yue said asked, of Sima Yue's. T of them T. S of T, of St of think of a way. With that, he turned into black smoke and returned to the devil's snare bracelet. This guy. Sima Yue stomped her feet, walked back to her bed, and lay down. Really? How are we supposed to think of a way? After freaking out for a while, Sima Yue went to call Ouyang Fei and Bei Gongtang over. What's wrong? Bei Gongtang asked. I need your help, Sima Yue said as she ran to lock the door, then brought the 2 of them into the Spirit Pagoda. What's the matter? Why did you come here? Ouyang Fei looked at Sima Yue and felt that this guy was a little abnormal. I've taken a liking to something and want to bid for it. But I need money, so I need you 2 to help me refine some pills. I'll sell them for money. Sima Yue said, What have you taken a liking to? Glass bead. A glass bead with a starting price of 15,000. Ouyang Fei and Bei Gongtang were shocked by her words and said, That glass bead starting price is 15,000, and it's a treasure that everyone wants. I'm afraid that it'll cost at least a few $100,000. That's right. That's why I said that I need to think of a way to earn money. Sima Yoyue's heart was bleeding and she wanted to cry. I still have some money here. You can use it to get some. Ouyang Fei took out a card and handed it to Sima Yoyue. This was the money-saving card that was commonly used in the Yulin continent. Every card could store a certain amount of gold coins. Green card. This is a card that costs 100,000 gold coins. Sima Yue looked at Ouyang Fei in shock. She didn't expect him to be a tycoon. No, he was a super tycoon. Bei Gongtang looked at the green card and said, I didn't expect you to be so rich. Ouyang Fei didn't comment on their reactions and stuffed the card into Sima Yoyue's hands, saying, use it first. What if you come across something that you want to buy? Sima Yue asked. Ouyang Fei shook his head, saying, I've already seen all those things. There's nothing that I want. I'll use it first. I'll return it to you later. Sima Yue kept the card and said, but this isn't enough. Bei Gongtang said, I feel that with so many powers fighting for this, 100,000 won't be enough. That's why we need to think of a way to earn some money. Sima Yue said, all right, let's sell those low-grade things that we don't need. Then we can take some low-grade pills to sell. Let's see how much we can gather first. 2 days later, Sima Yue and the others sold a large number of pills and spirit tools. However, they only managed to get 20,000 gold coins. Master, you have so many pills. You can also auction them. 1,000 Resonants saw that Sima Yue was so worried and reminded her, didn't you auction the cold ice pill before? This time you can auction the 100 Revolutions pill. It'll definitely be more popular than the cold ice pill. Sima Yoyue's eyes lit up as she hugged 1,000 Resonants and rubbed him, saying, you're so smart. Why didn't I think of the 100 Revolutions pill? However, this 100 Revolutions pill is so rare in the primordial lands. It'll definitely be even more precious in the Yulin continent. When we go, it'll be best if we hide our identity. Otherwise, it'll be troublesome if we attract those people. Master can let Big Brother Mo, Sha, change your aura. Then you can wear a cloak or mask or something to hide your appearance. 1,000 Resonants said. That's right. Thank you, 1,000 Resonants. Sima Yue let go of 1,000 Resonants and started to fiddle with the 100 Revolutions pill. 2 years ago, this 100 Revolutions pill was something that she couldn't even touch. However, she could refine herself now. Furthermore, this spirit pagoda had the golden snake fruit, which was extremely hard to find. That was why this 100 Revolutions pill wasn't that hard to find for her. Sima Yue chose 400 Revolutions pills and left the rest for Sima Yulu and the others. She bid farewell to Bei Gongtang and the others and went out alone. She came to an inconspicuous alley and saw that no one was paying attention to her, so she flashed in. When she came out again, she had already changed her aura. Chapter 190. Book title, Chapter First Earn a Fortune. Author, when she arrived at Ugly Person again, it was the same shop assistant who had received her last time. Sir, is there anything I can help you with? The shop assistant couldn't figure out Sima Yoyue's strength, but she could feel that her aura was very strong, so she asked carefully. Sima Yue looked at him. As expected, he didn't see through her identity. She didn't say anything and let Mo Sha speak instead. I'm here to sell things. Mo Sha said. Is it a normal sale or an auction? Auction. Then please follow me upstairs. Our auction is on the 3rd floor. Sima Yue followed the shop assistant to the 3rd floor. She found out that they were selling elixirs and asked Master Li to come out. May I know what kind of pill this honorable sir wants to sell? Master Li secretly observed for a while, but he couldn't guess which power she was from. It's not good to talk here. Let's go somewhere else. Mo Sha said. Master Li immediately understood and knew that the other party must have something good. He said, please follow me to the VIP room. Master Li took her to the 4th floor, which was very spacious. There were only a few rooms, and each room was decorated with high-end and classy decorations. Moreover, they were all soundproof. A maidservant served tea. Sima Yue took a sip and felt that the tea tasted better than the one she drank before. What kind of pill would you like to auction? Master Li asked again. Sima Yue took out a jade bottle and placed it on the table, saying, "This pill will definitely be the highlight of this auction." Manager Lee picked up the jade bottle doubtfully. Could it be that this pill was even more shocking than the Tier 6 pill? There was nothing special about the 4 golden pills. One had to get close to smell the medicinal fragrance. Even though Manager Lee was a 5th-grade medicinal pill, he had never seen the 100 Revolutions pill before. He asked curiously, "What kind of medicinal pill is this?" "100 Revolutions pill." Immerse said, "How is it?" Master Lee's hand trembled, and he almost dropped the pill on the ground. 100 Revolutions pill. Not only Master Lee, but even the accompanying maidservants were stunned. As long as one was an alchemist, it could be said that there was no one who hadn't heard of the 100 Revolutions pill. However, in the Elin continent, this pill's recipe had long been lost. Even if one knew that such a pill existed, they could only sigh at its name. Now that he heard the name of the 100 Revolutions pill, his surprise was self-evident. Is this really the 100 Revolutions pill? Master Lee felt that the pill in his hand was like a cauldron weighing 1,000 pounds. It was so heavy that he could barely breathe. "You guys should have even higher level appraisers, right?" Immerse said. Only then did Master Lee react and said, "Men, go and ask Master to come out." If this was really the 100 Revolutions pill, then the Tier 6 pill that was the highlight of the auction would have to give way to it. Very quickly, an old alchemist hurried over and came to Sima Yu's room. The moment he entered, he asked, "Where is the 100 Revolutions pill?" Master Lee hurriedly handed the jade bottle over. The old man took it and poured out the pills inside. It's this." The old man looked at the pill in his hand emotionally as tears streamed down his face. "I never thought that I would be able to see this pill again in my lifetime. It wasn't in vain. It wasn't in vain. Master, is this really the 100 Revolutions pill?" Master Lee asked. "This is the 100 Revolutions pill," the old man said confidently. "That year, I was fortunate enough to see it once. I will never forget it in this lifetime. It's a pity that I didn't get the recipe at that time." Wasn't this pill's recipe lost? It was lost in the Elin continent, but it can still be found in other places. The old man said, "May I ask your honor, was this refined by you?" Sima Yue sat back in her chair and said, "This has nothing to do with the auction this time, right? It has nothing to do with it." The old man calmed himself down and put the pill back into the jade bottle, saying, "This is just my own curiosity. After seeing the 100 Revolutions pill in my early years, I've been thinking about it my entire life. I originally thought that I would never see this pill again, but I never thought that I would see it today. That's why I wanted to ask and fulfill my life's wish." "That's right, I refined it," Immerse said. "It's true." The old man couldn't control his emotions. "May I ask if your honor is willing to sell this pill's recipe?" Immerse was silent for a moment, saying, "First, tell me the starting price of this 100 Revolutions pill." This 100 Revolutions pill is already a 1st-tier pill. The starting price is slightly more expensive than a 6th-tier pill, 20,000 gold coins. The old man said, 20,000 gold coins? Sima Yue sucked in a breath of air. "Does your honor think that it's too cheap?" The old man felt Sima Yue's shock and hurriedly explained, "This auction is like this. The starting price won't be too high. If these 4 pills are auctioned, each pill will be worth at least 100,000 gold coins." Sima Yue tapped her fingers on the table. 4 pills would be 400,000 gold coins. Adding on Ouyang Fei's 100,000 gold coins, that would be 500,000 gold coins. This should be enough. "All right, then we'll go according to your price," Immerse said. The old man took out a card and said, "This is your number card. Also, this is our auction house's blue card. Those who have this card are all our VIPs. In the future, you'll be able to get a 15% discount on anything you buy from our branches." Sima Yue kept the blue card and number card and got up to leave. "Your honor, please wait." The old man called out to Sima Yue. "Is something the matter?" "This, our auction house would like to discuss with you. Is it possible to buy your pill's recipe?" The old man asked. "Buy the pill's recipe?" "Yes, if your honor is willing. We are willing to pay 300,000 gold coins for the 100 Revolutions pill's recipe." 300,000? Sima Yue frowned, since you know the value of this 100 revolutions pill and know that this pill's recipe has been lost, this 300,000, when she came out of Ugly Person, she already had 500,000 gold coins in her spatial ring. As expected, he's rich and overbearing, taking out 500,000 gold coins without batting an eye. However, she never thought that money would be so easy to earn. No wonder those alchemists were all so arrogant. This pill was worth a lot of money. Once again, she entered the small alley. After confirming that there was no one nearby, she took off her clothes and changed back into her previous clothes. Then she swaggered out. Stop right there. Just as she left the alley, she met someone she didn't want to meet. Qin stopped Sima Yue and said, "Why aren't you hiding in Sandgull today? You actually came out?" Sima Yue looked at Qin and rolled her eyes in her heart. Why did she meet her? She didn't like to deal with these kinds of people and said indifferently, "A good dog doesn't block the way. Why are you blocking my way? You actually call me a dog?" Qin heard the meaning behind her words and shouted angrily, "I didn't call you a dog. I only said that those who block me are dogs. If you don't block me for no reason, then aren't you a dog?" Sima Yue shrugged her shoulders. Qin was confused and glared at her. She turned around and said to Shi behind her, "Cousin, it's this person. They beat me up so badly that day. You have to uphold justice for me." Chapter 191. Sima Yue then shifted her gaze to Shi. She didn't see her face clearly the last time, but now that she saw her, she was indeed a beauty. However, compared to her appearance, her aura was more eye-catching. She looked at Sima Yue and saw that Sima Yue was actually looking straight at her. She was not intimidated by her aura and said, "You have guts. Courage is borrowed from heaven and earth." Sima Yue smiled and said, "Mengyo, you look pretty. Do you want to follow me to the mountains and be my wife? Just based on a young brat like you?" Shi said, "You haven't even grown hair and you're already thinking about hitting on women." Sima Yue stretched out a finger and shook it. No. I don't have any ideas about ordinary women. I'm only interested in beautiful women." Smooth talker. She did not get angry and said, "Since my cousin said that you guys beat her up, as her cousin, I can't just ignore it. Kneel down and apologize to her. As long as she forgives you, you can leave today." "Make her kneel?" Sima Yue smirked. "What if I don't? Then I can only break your legs and make you kneel." She calmly said. She did not feel that her words were cruel. "It's a pity. My body, hair, and skin belong to my parents. I love my body very much." Sima Yue said, "I don't kneel to the heavens or the earth. I only kneel to my parents. As for your cousin, it's even more impossible. Don't kneel to the heavens. Don't kneel to the earth." She heard Sima Yue's words and was stunned for a second before saying, "You're a rather ambitious child. However, this will still crumble in the face of strength." "Really?" Sima Yue shrugged helplessly when she saw that the other party was not going to let her go. "What should I do? I don't want to lay my hands on a beauty. My heart would ache if I hurt you." "Then let's see who's the one hurting who," she said as she curled her fingers and grabbed towards Sima Yue. Sima Yue saw her speed and the sound of the wind she created. She had a rough understanding of her abilities. With a twist of his body, he easily dodged her attack. Then, he quickly took 2 steps back and left the opponent's attack range. She did not expect Sima Yue's speed to be so fast. When Sima Yue dodged, she changed her direction and tried to grab her. However, she was still unable to catch her. "Beauty, if you can catch me within 10 moves, I will apologize to her." "You're standing." Sima Yue laughed as she dodged. Shi had always been stronger than her peers and had never met anyone who was faster than her. Because the two of them didn't use any spirit chi during this chase, they were only competing with their physical strength. 2 moves, 3 moves, 4 moves, 9 moves, 10 moves after 10 moves. She did not even manage to touch Sima Yue. She did not even manage to touch the corner of her clothes. Her speed was very fast, and her reaction was also very fast. However, it could not be compared to Sima Yue, who had stayed in the Sophia mountain range for 2 years. After 10 moves, Sima Yue came out of the crowd and said to Shi, "Beauty, This young master has something on today, so I won't be chatting with you. Next time, remember to speed up a little. After speaking, she quickly left. She did not even see how she managed to get out of the crowd. When she saw her leave, her face was terrifyingly gloomy. Cousin, you're letting him go just like that? Qinwan went forward and said unwillingly. Can you catch him? She glanced at Qinwan and said, that brat's abilities are not weak. The most important thing now is the auction in a few days. I don't want to cause any trouble. After the auction, there will naturally be a chance to take revenge. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. Although Qinwan said this, her eyes were still filled with unwillingness as she watched Sima Yue leave. When Sima Yue returned to the Sandgull army, Wei Ziqi and the others were playing with Little Two in the courtyard. When they saw her return, they asked, how was it? Done. Sima Yue said, however, I'm afraid that the auction will have to be pushed back for another 2 days. Push back again? Fatty Chu was shocked and asked why. The 100 Revolutions pill is an almost extinct pill after all. Now that it has appeared, such a heaven-defying pill will naturally attract everyone's interest. There will be even more things that want to be auctioned, and more money will be needed. Sima Yue said, they said that it will be pushed back for another 2 days. I can just unblock Little Two's meridians one more time. Yeah, you rested for so long last time. We don't know what will happen this time. It's best if you maintain your mental strength. Bei Gong Tang said. Yeah. Sima Yue nodded her head. She was thinking the same thing. Yue, do you have enough money now? Wei Ziqi asked. It's enough. Sima Yue was extremely happy when she said this. I sold the 100 Revolutions pill formula to Ugly Person and earned 600,000 gold coins. 400 Revolutions pills can earn me at least 400,000 gold coins. That adds up to 1,000,000 gold coins. Fatty Chu said. Why do I feel like I'm a nouveau riche? Nouveau riche your sister. Sima Yue patted Fatty Chu and said, I've always been rich. It's just that it was a thing in the past, but now it's turned into money. We'll definitely be able to get the colored glass pearl this time. Wei Ziqi said, however, Yue, why do you have to get the colored glass pearl? I didn't see you so interested in it before. My group of people like it. As their master, I can only satisfy them. Sima Yue said helplessly. And Mo Sha, who was in the Devil Snare bracelet, heard Sima Yue say that she was his master and could not help but twitch his mouth. There had never been anyone who dared to say that they were his master. If it was anyone else, he would definitely slap them to death. However, why was it that when Sima Yue said that, he did not seem angry at all? Yue, when do you plan on clearing Little Two's throat for the second time? Bei Gong Tang asked. Tomorrow. Sima Yue said, Little Two, rest well today. We'll start again tomorrow, all right? All right. Little Two nodded. Although he was afraid of the terrifying pain, it did not stop his desire to cultivate. After that, Sima Yue told him about her encounter with Qinwan and Shi. The others did not think much of it, and only said that they should leave early to avoid meeting them again. Just as Sima Yue said, that afternoon, the auction house released news that the auction would be delayed for another 2 days. Being delayed twice in a row was something that had never happened before. Many people were dissatisfied, but when they heard that the delay was due to the appearance of the 100 Revolutions pill, their dissatisfaction turned into excitement, and they all went to gather funds. Even Shi, who had seen many good things since she was young, was shocked. Her innate talent was not bad. If she could obtain the 100 Revolutions pill, she would definitely be able to defy the heavens in the future. Men, immediately go and get the gold coins. Gather enough funds for me. Also, send someone to report this to Imperial Father. Chapter 192. The next day, Sima Yue went to Little Two's room. Little Two was waiting for her. Let's begin. When Little Two saw Sima Yue take out the frost pill, he remembered that when he went to Ugly Person's shop, she gave him a starting price of 5,000 a pill. He knew that this pill was definitely not cheap. Seeing that she gave it to him without thinking, he said, Sister, Little Two will remember Sister's kindness. Sima Yue patted Little Two's head and said, Okay. Xiao Tu swallowed the pill. Sima Yue continued to channel spiritual energy into his body to help the frost pill melt. When his body started to freeze, she drew out a wisp of flame and channeled it into Xiao Tu's body. Little Tu's body trembled. He was afraid of this flame, but he clenched his teeth and didn't make a sound. Just like last time, Sima Yue only managed to open 4 meridians before withdrawing. Although she was slightly better than last time and could still hold on for a while, she felt that Little Tu's condition was not good, so she chose to end it here. The moment the flames retreated, Little Tu opened his eyes and saw Sima Yue's pale face. He moved his lips and fainted. Bei Gong Tang walked in. Just like the last time, she took over the responsibility of taking care of Little Tu and let Sima Yue rest. Sima Yue took out the soul fluid and dripped a drop into Little Tu's mouth. Then, she returned to her room and ate a drop before sitting cross-legged to cultivate. During this period, Bai Yunqi came to look for them and said that she would take them out to play. As Sima Yue was in seclusion and did not want to be disturbed, they left her alone and went out. Sima Yue was still in seclusion until the day of the auction. Just as everyone was hesitating whether or not to call her out, the light of advancement shot out from the house, blocking their path. Yue actually advanced again. Fatty Chu slapped his thigh. Why haven't I advanced yet? It's obvious that we're all cultivating at the same level. Ouyang Fei said faintly, You don't have enough talent. Just accept it. Sob, sob, sob. Why is you so much stronger than us? This won't do. After this matter is settled, I must cultivate properly. I can't fall too far behind. This was not only his thought, but also the thoughts of the others. Because Sima Yue had advanced to the next round, they left much later than the others. Bai Yunchun had already brought the Sangul mercenaries to Ugly Person. Only Bai Yunqi was still waiting for them. Sima Yue had finished her advancement. It had been 2 months since her last advancement. However, she had been busy recently and did not have the time to cultivate. That was why it had taken so long. A level 2 spiritual grandmaster. I wonder how strong I am now. Clenching her fists, Sima Yue nodded in satisfaction when she felt the energy coursing through her body. When she opened the door and went out, it was already dark outside. Everyone was still waiting for her in the courtyard. Yue, you finally came out. If you didn't come, we would have missed the auction. Bai Yunqi said, Today's auction? It's already been so many days. Sima Yue smiled and said, Then let's go quickly. The bee's carriage was still waiting for them outside the door. Sima Yue went up with them. When they reached the small alley, she left Wei Ziqi and the others to go by themselves. She went to the small alley and changed her clothes before hurrying over to Ugly Person. At this time, there were only a few minutes left before the auction started. The shop assistants were already preparing to close the door. When they saw Sima Yue coming over, they hurriedly opened the door and said, Your Highness, you've come. Please let the staff bring you to your private room. Sima Yue nodded and followed a lady in. The auction was behind Ugly Person. It was a building. Including the basement, there were a total of 3 levels. The lowest level was the auction stage and the public seating area. The people here were either ordinary auctioneers or people with insufficient power. These people were mostly here to join in the fun. The second level was reserved for people with status and power. It faced the auction stage in an arc, and there were about 10 rooms. The third level was reserved for people with great power. For example, the West Moon Country's royal family, the Alchemist Guild, the Armament Master Guild, and so on. There were a total of 20 rooms on the third level. There were a few rooms that were already lit up, indicating that there were people inside. Rooms 1 to 5 were all VIPs among VIPs. Currently, only Shiyushi was in room 5. The first 4 rooms were all dark, and there was no one inside. When Sima Yue went in, almost everyone had already arrived. When the time was up, the door was closed. Your Highness, this way, please. The servant girl brought Sima Yue through the side of the main hall and up the stairs to the third level. Everyone was already seated, so Sima Yue was especially conspicuous. Those people were all trying to guess the identity of the person who was able to have Ugly Person's people personally lead the way. Furthermore, it was someone who was alone. Room 3. When those people saw Sima Yue enter room 3, they were all stunned. How long has it been since the lights in room 3 were lit up? The West Moon Country's royal family can only stay in room 5. Who would have thought that that person would enter room 3? That's right. I heard that the person who provided the 100 Revolutions pills was wearing a black cloak. Could it be that he was the one who provided the 100 Revolutions pills? So it was him. No wonder he could enter room 3. I heard that this 100 Revolutions pill was personally refined by him. If we can invite him to our family, then our family's revival will be just around the corner. Just think about it. I heard that the auction house wanted to recruit him, but he didn't agree. How could he possibly go to your small family? Wei Ziqi and the rest were still wondering who this person was. Now that they heard that he was the one who provided the 100 Revolutions pills, they immediately understood that it was Sima Yue. Who would have thought that Yue would actually go to room 3 on the 3rd level? If we had known earlier, we would have followed him to see for ourselves. Fatty Chu said, Yue naturally has her own considerations for not letting us follow. This 100 Revolutions pill has caused a huge commotion. If people knew what it was, it would definitely attract trouble. Look, Yue has already changed her aura. Wei Ziqi lectured. I understand. I was just saying. Fatty Chu said. The servant girl brought Sima Yue into the room. The lights automatically lit up, allowing her to see the interior clearly. It's really luxurious. Sima Yue muttered in her heart. This room is even more luxurious than other people's rooms. Your Highness, the spirit fruits here are specially prepared for you. The servant girl said, Furthermore, we have also prepared a list of the items to be auctioned. All right, you may leave. Sima Yue lowered her voice and said, If there is anything, you can press this button. We will send someone over immediately. This servant will leave now. The servant girl left the room after she finished speaking and closed the door, isolating the outside from any inquiries. Sima Yue came to the table and looked at the spirit fruits. Although they could not be compared to the ones in the spirit pagoda, they were still considered good for the outside world. At this time, all the lights in the hall lit up and focused on the auction stage. Those who were familiar with the situation knew that the auction was about to begin. Chapter 193. A woman with a hot figure walked onto the stage. She was wearing a Chong Sam, which accentuated her figure perfectly. She had a beautiful face, exquisite makeup, and her hair was tied up behind her head. She looked noble and charming. She waved her hand, and the people below immediately quieted down. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this auction. After 2 postponements, the auction has finally begun. I wonder if everyone is as expectant as Junlan. Junlan said with a smile. There were sounds of agreement from below. Everyone could not wait any longer. Junlan looked at the reactions of the people below with satisfaction and said, Everyone knows that our ugly person's guards have always been excellent. This time, we have quite a few excellent auction items, so naturally we have good guards. All 4 corners of our auction house are guarded by spirit emperors, and there's also a spirit venerable. So if you don't succeed in the auction, you can't cause trouble here. Following her words, several waves of pressure spread out from the auction house at the same time, and then quickly retreated. There's actually a spirit venerable in charge. The strength of this auction house really can't be underestimated. Sima Yue also felt the pressure from those people, and said while rubbing her chin, Everyone's seats and private rooms have a list of the items that will be auctioned tonight. I'm sure everyone knows what items will be auctioned tonight. If there's anything you want, be prepared to make your move. Junlan reminded. I'm sure everyone can't wait any longer. I now announce that tonight's auction has officially begun. Now let's bring up our first auction item tonight. A beautiful woman came up with a plate and placed it on the auction table. She then removed the red cloth and retreated to the side. This is a piece of volcanic rock. It was taken from a volcano and is close to the Earth's core. It has been baked at high temperatures for a long time and is an important material for refining fire attribute spirit artifacts. This piece of volcanic rock weighs 1.5 kilograms. The starting price is 300 gold coins, and each increment must not be less than 10%. Let the bidding begin. She knocked the small hammer in her hand, and the people below began to bid. The price went up from 30 to 50. Sima Yue looked at the bidding below and realized that the prices of the auctions were set at a relatively low price. She guessed that it was to lure everyone into bidding. Towards the end, it was almost like the competition was causing trouble. She took a look and found that the items in front of her didn't pique her interest. The darkness stone that she wanted was in the 20th or so, while the colored glass stone was in the last 20 or so. Thus, she ate spirit fruits in the house and watched the people below bid. Fatty Chew's medicinal ingredients were also auctioned off a few months ago. The starting price was 500 gold coins, and in the end, it was bought by an alchemist for 1,500 gold coins. Fatty Chew and the rest had never thought of earning much money. They had only come to join in the fun, so they weren't dissatisfied with the price. Not long after, Wei Ziqi's items were also auctioned for 3,000 gold coins. After that, there were also some materials for refining pills and refining tools. When these were almost done, a black stone was brought up. This is a rarely seen stone. Our appraiser can't identify what material it is, but it's as hard as iron. Ordinary flames have no effect on it, so we guess that it can also be used to refine weapons. The starting price is 1,000 gold coins. Because everyone didn't know what use this stone had, there weren't many people bidding for it. After all, towards uncertain factors, everyone had a suspicious attitude. If they bought it well, they would have profited, but if they bought a useless stone, then they would have suffered huge loss. Even if it could be used to refine weapons, if they didn't know what use it had, then it would be useless. Thus, it was different from the previous bids. This time, there were only 2 or 3 people bidding. After 2 to 3 minutes, the price had just reached 2,000 gold coins. 2,500. Qin Wan's voice came from a room on the second floor. 2,600. Hearing Qin Wan bid, Bai Yunqi followed suit. The items at the front weren't very high level, so it was basically the people in the main hall who were bidding. There was no movement from the second and third floors. It was rare that Qin Wan from the domineering mercenary group had taken a fancy to something. The people below all gave up, and Bai Yunqi appeared again. 3,000. Qin Wan unhappily pulled a long face. This Bai Yunqi just liked to go against her. 3,100. Bai Yunqi followed suit. 3,300. 3,400. 4,000. 4,100. No matter how much Qin Wan bid, Bai Yunqi would always bid 100 more than her. It was obvious that she was targeting her. Bai Yunqi, you're not even interested in this thing. Why are you bidding with me? Qin Wan couldn't take it anymore and shouted toward the outside of the room. I think this thing isn't bad, so I want to buy it and put it in my foot basin. Bai Yunqi said. Ha! The people below all laughed out loud. Only a person like Bai Yunqi would be able to say such words. Even Sima Yue couldn't help but smile. Shi Yueshi and 2 members of the royal family sat in the number 5 private room, waiting for the auction to start later. Seeing Qin Wan and Bai Yunqi making a ruckus below, she frowned and said 5,000. If Qin Wan liked it, then she would just buy it for her. If they kept delaying like this, when would they be able to get to the auction later? Seeing the number 5 private room light up, the people below all tactfully closed their eyes. Everyone knew that this was the West Moon Kingdom's royal family making a move. Who would be willing to go against them? As expected, once Shi Yueshi opened her mouth, Bai Yunqi also went down and didn't make another sound. Qin Wan guessed that Shi Yueshi was bidding for her and didn't bid anymore. Junlan watched from a stage. The fact that this stone could be sold for 5,000 gold coins was already out of her expectations. Seeing that no one else was bidding, she followed the procedure and asked for the last time. Number 5 private room bids 5,000 gold coins. Are there any higher bids? She paused. Seeing that no one was bidding, she continued. If there aren't any 5,000 gold coins going once, 5,000 gold coins going twice, 5,000 gold coins going thrice, 5,100. Number 3's voice rang out, interrupting Junlan's final words. Hearing number 3's bid, the people below were a little shocked. For her to bid at this time, wasn't it slapping Shi Yueshi's face? As expected, Shi Yueshi was very unhappy. She didn't make a move just now. Now that she was about to bid for it, she actually opened her mouth. Wasn't this clearly going against her? Her face darkened as she said, 5,500, 5,600, 6,000, 6,100, 6,500, 6,600. Raising the price in the same manner as by Yunqi, it was obvious that she was looking for trouble. You're doing this on purpose. She said. Sima Yue let Mo Sha speak on her behalf. What on purpose? I just remembered that my pill refining furnace's leg is broken, and it's just the right height for this stone. Beauty Lawn said that this is so sturdy, I was thinking that I could take it back to pad my pill refining furnace. Even if it doesn't work, I can still give it to someone and let him take it back and place it in the foot basin. Ha 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 dash. Number 3 and number 5 were arguing. The atmosphere wasn't very good, but hearing her say that, the people below couldn't help but laugh. Chapter 194. You dash. She would be an idiot if she still couldn't tell that Sima Yue was doing it on purpose. Princess, don't be angry. Everyone is free to bid in this auction. If you can bid, then so can I. Miss Junlan, am I right? Sima Yue threw the question to Junlan. Of course. Junlan didn't seem to be afraid of the West Moon Imperial family, as she smiled and said, in any case, I'm just here to join in the fun today. Those cultivation techniques and pills don't attract me at all. If the princess wants to play, I don't mind playing with you. It's just that I don't know when I stopped. Sima Yue was very direct with her words. She was just teasing her. When you offered a high price, she would stop. Let's see if you still have the money to compete with others for those things. She was so angry that her lungs were about to explode. No one had ever dared to talk to her like that. But the other party's identity was extraordinary. Most importantly, she didn't know anything about him. If she played with him, it wouldn't be a big deal. But if she lost the chance to snatch the 100 Revolutions pill, because of this, she would definitely regret it to death. The old man who was with her also shook his head at her, indicating that she shouldn't lose her mind because of her quarrel with the other party. Junlan saw that she wasn't speaking, so she smiled and asked, Room 3 has bid 6,600. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? The entire venue was silent. What a joke. Even she had given up. Who else would dare to provoke this person? Qinwan still wanted to bid, but was stopped by her father. Even the auction house had to be courteous to him, so Domineering Guild couldn't afford to offend him. Qinwan stomped her feet unwillingly and heard Junlan knock down the auction mallet. At first, the items were not very expensive, so they all paid in cash. After a while, a maid came over with a tray. Sima Yue asked her to put down the tray, then paid her 6,600 gold coins and asked her to leave. The maidservant tactfully closed the door. Sima Yue then took the tray and removed the red cloth on it. There was a black stone in a small box. Sima Yue picked up the stone and felt that there was a slight chill coming from it. This is the darkness stone. She took a closer look. Other than the fact that the temperature was a little low, there was nothing different about it compared to other stones. Mo Sha seemed to be a little excited. Sima Yue could feel the devil's snare bracelet vibrating quite a bit. Mo Sha, what kind of stone is this dark stone? An item of extreme and extreme evil. Mo Sha came out from the devil's snare bracelet. Looking at the black stone, his eyes twinkled. Something of extreme and extreme evil? Then what are you going to do with it? Sima Yue was shocked. Mo Sha glanced at her and said, I'm originally someone from the devil realm. In your so-called light clan, I'm an evil being. This thing is a great supplement for me. Why is this dark stone so cold? The dark stone is extremely rare in the devil realm and ghost realm. Generally, it can only be formed in ancient battlefields. It's made from the blood of humans and spirit beasts, so naturally it's cold. Mo Sha said. Sima Yue heard it and subconsciously threw the dark stone back into the box. What does this thing do to you? You don't have to worry about that. Mo Sha said, remember my color glass bead. After speaking, he rolled up the dark stone and put it back into the devil's snare bracelet. Sima Yue looked at the empty box and accepted her fate as she kept it back into her spatial ring. Really, I don't know if you're the owner or if I'm the owner. The auction below continued. The first 50 items were mostly bought by the people on the first floor. After the 50th, there were only a few people on the second floor who participated. At this time, those who participated did not place their sights on the last few items. They knew that they could not win against others, so they might as well bid for the items that they liked. When Ouyang Fei's divine beast magic crystal appeared, it caused quite a commotion. Even the armament masters and alchemist guilds started bidding. In the end, the divine beast magic crystal that was originally worth a few thousand was sold for 30,000 gold coins. The gold coins were quickly sent to the private room. Fatty Chu looked at Ouyang Fei calmly receiving the gold coins and said enviously, "If I knew earlier, I would have also taken out a divine beast magic crystal to auction. It's hard to buy with money. If you knew earlier, you know," Wei Ziqi said with a smile. However, this auction is really quite interesting. There are all kinds of things, and the prices are even higher than the ones sold outside. Fatty Chu said, "You're the seller now, so you naturally want the prices to be higher. If you meet something you want to buy, you won't feel that it's good." Bei Gong Tang said, "That's true." Fatty Chu nodded. The further they went, the higher the prices of the items. The people on the first floor were basically just there to watch the show. The main bidders had shifted to the second and third floor. Sima Yue was not interested in these things. She watched the people below call out prices. Sometimes, she felt bored and called out twice. However, when she found out that she called out more than 3 times, those people would not call out anymore. It made her buy 2 more items for nothing. As a result, she became quiet and did not call out anymore. She did not call out again until the colored glass bead came out. With great difficulty, the colored glass bead came out. Sima Yue found that many girls were crying out in surprise. They were mesmerized by the colored glass bead's appearance. This is a colored glass bead. It has a beautiful appearance and has been around for a long time. It's quite beautiful to wear as jewelry. The most important thing is that wearing the colored glass bead can help you calm down after a long time. It can help you calm down. Jun Lan said, "Miss June, I heard that this used to belong to a demon king. Is that true?" Someone asked. Everyone present was frightened by these words. Some of the people who wanted to call out a price stopped thinking about it. If it really belonged to a demon king, it would not just be beautiful. It would be fatal. Jun Lan's smile did not diminish. She said generously, "That's right. This colored glass bead used to belong to a demon king in the demon realm. However, it later circulated around the world. It's not only the people of the demon realm who can have it. Of course, if it were not for this factor, our starting price would not be so low. After all, this used to belong to a demon king." 20,000. The first person to call out a price of 20,000 was probably because she did not want anyone to compete with her. 20,000. 23,000. 25,000. There were not many people calling out a price. They were all raising the price bit by bit. 30,000. The first person who called out a price just now raised the price by quite a bit. Hearing that the price had reached 30,000, the people who called out a price just now all stopped. Sima Yue turned on the light and said, 30,000. The person in the private room originally thought that victory was in her hands. She did not expect Sima Yue to make a move. She looked unhappy but still called out, 35,000, 36,000, 40,000, 40,000. When the people below heard Sima Yue calling out a price like that, some of them could not help but laugh. They thought that she was playing with this person like how she played with Shi Yueshi. Chapter 195. After that, the man bid a few more times. Sima Yue bid 1 or 2,000 each time, which made the man feel helpless. In the end, that person gritted his teeth and shouted 100,000 yuan. Sima Yue still followed, making that person feel helpless. "All right, you win." That person said hatefully, "I won't follow." Everyone thought that she was joking, but only she knew that she was serious. As for why she only added 1 or 2,000 every time, she wouldn't say that it was because she didn't want to spend more money. If that person knew, he would definitely be depressed to death. How could there be such a scammer? Soon, the servant girl brought the colored glass bead over. Sima Yue spent 120,000 to exchange for it. It's not as expensive as I thought, but this bead is quite pretty. She played with the glass bead in her hand, and said with a smile. This price was much cheaper than she had expected. It was probably because the items at the back were more precious. Everyone wanted to save their money at the back. They didn't want anything to happen at the front and let her take advantage of them. She didn't even have time to look at the colored glass bead when the auction for a cold ice pill started. Junlon held the cold ice pill and said, "I believe everyone is familiar with the cold ice pill. It's a 5th-tier pill. Although its grade isn't high, it's quite useful for us spirit masters. Everyone knows that the higher one's strength is, the easier it is to suffer from chi deviation during cultivation, and this cold ice pill is the best pill to treat chi deviation." At this point, she paused and looked at the reactions below with satisfaction. She continued, "The effects of this pill are well known, and the difficulty of refining this pill is obvious to all. From medicinal herbs to refining, it was not a simple matter. Therefore, the starting price for this auction was 5,000 gold coins each. Let's start the bidding." Although the price of 5,000 was somewhat high, there were still many people bidding for it. After all, this medicinal pill was still very hard to come by. If he kept it now, it would be better to be prepared in case he went berserk one day. The last one was sold for 30,000 gold coins, one for 35,000 gold coins. Sima Yi was quite satisfied with this price. In the private room that Wei Ziqi and the others were in, Little Two was already deeply shocked by the price of the cold ice pill. "Brother actually gave me such an expensive pill." Thinking about how Sima Yue did not even blink when she gave him the pill, he was extremely touched. Bei Gong Tang patted Little Two's head, saying, "Yue is really good to you. I will remember Big Brother's kindness." Little Two said seriously. Time passed bit by bit, and most of the items were sold. There were only a few valuable items left. At this time, many of the forces on the second floor had already been divided into teams that were just there for fun. The competition was mainly for the third floor. Sima Yue watched them fight. Although these things were precious, they were not attractive to her. She had already bid for the 2 items she had come here for. She had already achieved her goal, and the other items were not essential. 100,000, 110,000, 150,000, 200,000. Now, the bids were increasing by tens of thousands. Thinking back to the past, the bids were increasing by a few thousand. The difference was too big. At this time, a servant girl brought up a tray, but did not remove the red cloth on it. Instead, she retreated to the side. Next up is the highlight of our auction. This time, the auction item is the 6th-ranked God's Power Pill. Taking this pill can instantly increase a person's battle power by 1-fold. Think about it. If you're fighting with someone, and both of you are of the same rank, but your battle power is doubled. Junlon does not need to say much about the outcome. There are a total of 2 God's Power Pills. The starting price for each pill is 15,000. Sima Yue did not think that the starting price for the God's Power Pill was only 15,000. The starting price for her colored glass pearl was 16,000. When she came back to her senses, the first pill had already been set at 250,000. The second pill was set at 300,000. The starting price is 15,000, and the final price is 300,000. That is to say, it's 20 times the price. The starting price for the 100 Revolutions pill is 20,000. That means it could go up to 400,000. Whoa, I'm rich. Sima Yue calculated the price, and her heart bloomed with joy. You calm down. Isn't it just 1,000,000 gold coins? You used to have so much more than this. Little Roar was happily eating a spirit fruit as he looked at her with disdain. That was in the past. Anyway, I don't remember. I only know that I'm very poor now. Sima Yue snorted. No, I have to think of a way to raise the price. After the God's Power Pill was taken down, her 100 Revolutions pill was brought up next. The 100 Revolutions pill was not placed in a jade bottle, but was placed on a red cloth. The 4 golden pills immediately attracted everyone's attention. This is the 100 Revolutions pill. It looks different from other medicinal pills. Can eating this pill really cleanse one's muscles and marrow? Of course it can. It is said that after eating this, even trash can become a genius. Tis TSK. I wonder who will be able to bid for it. In any case, It won't be you or me, haha. I'm really curious how much it will sell for in the end. No matter how much it sells for, it will be worth it. Think about it. A single pill can be the birth of a genius. As long as it is a powerful clan, a genius is worth more than a few 100,000 gold coins. That makes sense? I see that many powers are here today for the 100 Revolutions pill, and there are only 4 pills. I think there will be a good show to watch. Haha, let's wait. Junlon looked at the reactions of the people below and did not say anything. A few people were envious of the 100 Revolutions pill and knew that they had no chance of winning it. They wanted to directly snatch it, but before they could move, 5 powerful auras pressed down on them, killing their thoughts in the cradle. A cold snort rang out, causing those who had lost their rationality to regain their senses. Only then did they remember that there were 5 experts here. If they really flew over to snatch it, they would be dead by now. Junlon waited for those people to calm down before smiling and saying, "That's right, this is the long-lost 100 Revolutions pill." To be honest, this is the first time Junlon has seen this 100 Revolutions pill, but our appraiser has appraised it and is sure that it is the 100 Revolutions pill. I don't think I need to explain the effects of this 100 Revolutions pill. It can cleanse the muscles and marrow, completely changing a person's physique. Even if you were a waste before, it can still make you a genius. If you were originally a genius, then you can only become a ghost. Haha, the people below were amused by her words. The recipe for this 100 Revolutions pill has already been lost. It is said that the ingredients inside are even rarer, so perhaps we will only see it once in our lives. This can be said to be our only chance. Everyone must seize this opportunity. You can't afford to lose this opportunity. If you lose this opportunity, you might lose a chance to become a genius. A clan may lose a future genius. Miss Junlon, don't say any more. Let's start. A person from a private room on the 2nd floor shouted. All right, everyone knows the value of this pill. Junlon will not waste any more words. The starting price is 20,000. Let's start the auction. Chapter 196. 25,000, 30,000, 40,000, 150,000. Sima Yue watched them bid from upstairs. Because everyone knew that she was the one who was auctioning it, she could not participate and could only watch. She suddenly thought of something and pressed the service light. Immediately, a servant girl came forward. "Sir, how may I be of service to you?" "I would like to see your manager." Immediately. "Please wait a moment." The servant girl retreated, and very quickly, a manager came forward. "Sir, is there something you need?" The manager asked respectfully. "I have an additional request for my auction item. Downstairs, the first pill stopped at 300,000. Just as everyone thought that the price was going to be set, Wei Ziqi suddenly said, 330,000. 330,000. Is there anyone else who wants to add? Junlon asked. 350,000. Bai Yunqi shouted from the private room of the Sand Gull Mercenary Group. 380,000. 400,000. Shiyushi bid. 420,000. Wei Ziqi bid again. 450,000. Bai Yunqi followed. 460,000. The domineering mercenary group liked to drink Bai Yunqi and go against them. 470,000. Bai Yunqi said. 480,000. Qin Wan followed. 490,000. Bai Yunqi's voice was a little awkward. To outsiders, it seemed that he was about to reach the limit. In the private room, Bai Yin-chun and Sun Ran looked at their son strangely. 400,000 was not a small sum to their mercenary group. However, if it could really change their son's body constitution and make his innate talent better, they would support it. In the end, only Qin Wan and Bai Yunqi were bidding. One pill was 400,000, so the others had their eyes on the last 3 pills. Being together with 2 unwise people was digging a hole for oneself. 500,000. Qin Wan bid. 50. Forget it. You're good. I'll let you have it. Bai Yunqi said unwillingly. 500,000. Is there anyone who wants to go higher? Junlon asked. If not, 500,000 going once, 500,000 going twice, 500,000 going thrice. The first 100 revolutions pill will go to Miss Qin. Congratulations on obtaining this treasure. A maid came up and took out a jade pendant. She put down 100 revolutions pill and went to the private room to exchange it for money. Qin Wan's father, Qin Ming, felt a bit of heartache. 500,000 in exchange for a single pill. However, when he thought about how eating it could be exchanged for a genius, he felt a little better. Qin Wan looked at the pill and her eyes lit up. She couldn't wait to take it out and look at it again and again. Father, can I eat it now? Don't worry. We're still outside. It won't be too late to eat when we get back. Qin Ming stopped him. All right. Qin Wan put the medicinal pill back and watched the second round of competition. Sima Yue didn't expect the first pill to fall into Qin Wan's hands. However, she was still happy that she had cheated them of 500,000 yuan. The bidding for the second 100 revolutions pill began, and the price rose sharply. Every time there was a bit of weakness, Wei Ziqi and Bai Yunqi would shout at each other for a while, spurring others to bid. In the end, this pill was set at a price of 550,000 yuan. After the second pill was sold, Junlan heard someone call her from behind to stop the bidding for the last two pills. She smiled apologetically to everyone and walked to the front of the auction stage. She heard the manager whisper a few words and looked suspiciously at the number 3 private room. When she returned to the auction stage, she regained her charming appearance and said, "Just now, the manager said that the owner of this 100 revolutions pill requested that the remaining 2 pills be auctioned together." Boom dash! This news caused the people below to panic. They originally thought that they would have 2 chances, but now there was only one. If they couldn't get it this time, it would mean that they had no fate with the 100 revolutions pill. This person is really despicable. Many people in the private room cursed. We didn't say that we can't change the conditions of the auction during the auction. Therefore, your esteemed self's request is not against the rules. Therefore, we will now auction the remaining 200 revolutions pills together. The starting price is 40,000 yuan. Begin bidding. The entire auction house was silent for a few seconds before everyone started shouting crazily. There was no need for Wei Ziqi and the rest to act as shills. The price had already soared to 1 million yuan. 1,050,000 yuan. She shouted with a pained expression. She had never thought of spending 1 million yuan to buy the 100 revolutions pill. She had originally planned to spend a few 100,000 yuan to buy 1 pill. Now that she had to spend twice the amount, it really made her unhappy. Sima Yue saw that the people below were shouting with a pained expression and added fuel to the fire, saying, "Everyone, please don't think that I'm trying to cheat everyone. It's best to eat 2 of these 100 revolutions pills. 1 pill will not be able to expel all the impurities in the body. 2 pills won't have any effect either. Therefore, these 2 pills are the best combination. It can change one's physique to the most perfect state. I'm doing this for the sake of the people who bid for the pills." Hearing Sima Yue's words, the gloominess in the hearts of those people was swept away, and they started bidding again. As long as one had the ability, they would want to participate in the bidding. In the end, the 2 pills were auctioned off by the Alchemist Guild for 1,800,000. She saw that she had missed out on the 100 revolutions pill and was extremely vexed. She never thought that such a situation would occur, so she did not bring that many gold coins with her. She could only watch as the Alchemist Guild bid for the pills. "Princess, don't be angry. These 2 pills are gone, but doesn't Miss Qin still have one? When the time comes, we can ask them to contribute that pill. You can also increase your innate talent." The people accompanying her advised, "But 1 pill is not enough to achieve the best results. I want 2. Shiyushi's face darkened. "We can't touch the Alchemist Guild, but isn't there another pill? When the time comes, we will naturally have a way to gather 200 revolutions pills for the princess." That better be the case. When Shiyushi heard this, her expression softened a little. Sima Yue was overjoyed in the private room. 1 pill was 500,000 yuan, 1 pill was 550,000 yuan, and the remaining 2 pills were 1,800,000 yuan. In total, she had 2,850,000 yuan. Adding on the cold ice pills 65,000 yuan, She had earned 2,915,000 yuan today. After deducting the commission and the tens of thousands that she spent on the items, she still had 2 million yuan. I'm rich, I'm rich. Her eyes narrowed into slits as Little Roar looked at her with disdain. The wave of the 100 revolutions pill had yet to pass when the last auction item was brought up. There was only one book lying quietly on the tray, but just like before, it stirred up the atmosphere of the entire auction hall. Junlon picked up the Spirit Technique book and showed it to everyone, then put it back and said, "This is our last auction item tonight, an Ice Attribute Profound Grade High Tier Spirit Technique. As everyone knows, wind, thunder, and ice is a rarely seen attribute. This Spirit Technique is also relatively rare, and this Ice Attribute Spirit Technique is a profound Grade High Tier Spirit Technique. It is definitely a spirit technique that everyone yearns for even in their dreams. The starting price is 30,000 yuan. Begin the bidding." When Sima Yue heard Junlan's words, her eyes narrowed as she muttered, "Ice Attribute Spirit Technique. It seems like we're lacking this right now." Chapter 197, Crazy Wife. 5th Ms. Godly Doctor Chapter 197. Competing for the Spiritual Skill Chapter 197. Competing for the Spiritual Skill Way, Ziqi's attributes were the Ice and Wood attributes. The Wood attribute's attack power was not strong at the moment, and although the Ice attribute's battle prowess was very good, because it did not have a strong spiritual skill, it made him the person with the lowest battle prowess in the team. Although there were a few spiritual skills in the Spirit Pagoda, after fusing with the 7-layer pagoda, the higher-level spiritual skills were sealed and thrown to the higher levels. This made her depressed for a long time. If she had known earlier, she would have taken him out before the fusion. While she was thinking about it, the bid had already reached 500,000 yuan. Crazy. Fatty Chu saw that the bid had reached such a high level, and his jaw almost fell to the ground. When Wei Ziqi first heard that it was an Ice Attribute spiritual skill, he was extremely excited. However, as the price continued to rise, his excited heart slowly calmed down. Even if he had found it with great difficulty, it did not belong to him. Everyone in the room could see the disappointment in his eyes. Ouyang Fei patted his shoulder and said, "You will meet even better ones in the future." Wei Ziqi smiled. 550,000. This bid caused the 4 of them to be startled. They subconsciously looked outside, only to see a tightly shut door. Although they did not know what method Sima Yue used to change her voice, they knew that this was her bidding. Private room number 3 bids 550,000. Are there any higher bids? Junlan asked. Once Sima Yue called out, many people gave up. They did not have the Ice attribute, and were only bidding for fun. If they were to be hated by an alchemist, because of this, it would not be worth it. 600,000. Shiyushi was unhappy that Sima Yue had tied the 100 revolutions pill to the auction and was competing with her. With the addition of the other powers, the bid for the spiritual skill had reached 1,200,000. Miss Junlan, this is my first time participating in this kind of auction. I have a question to ask. Sima Yue suddenly asked. We are bidding right now. What are you doing? She said unhappily. It is because we are bidding that I have a question to ask. Sima Yue said. Please ask. Junlan said. You have to pay on the spot for this auction, right? Or can I put the price here first, bid for the item, and then go back to raise the money? Sima Yue asked. The people below were stunned for a moment. They didn't expect her to ask this question. What if I bid but don't have the money to pay? Sima Yue continued. I'm not looking for trouble. It's just that I've never attended an auction before, so I don't know much about it. Junlan wasn't angry and said, If it's an empty bid, then you'll be blacklisted by our auction house forever. You won't be allowed to enter any of our branches. You won't kill me, right? Sima Yue asked in fear. There's no need for Junlan to say that. Junlan smiled and said, Can we continue? Oh, I have no more questions. Let's continue. Sima Yue said 25 million. After her interruption, the number of people bidding decreased by quite a bit. They were just trying to create a ruckus. Now that Sima Yue reminded them, If no one bid after they bid, then they would have kicked an iron plate. 1. 30 million. She insisted. 1. 40 million. Sima Yue directly added 100,000. 1. 50 million. Very quickly, the price was raised to 1. 70 million. Now, only she and Shi were left. 1. 80 million. After Sima Yue finished bidding, she said, "This is already the highest price I'm willing to pay. If Princess likes it, then add a bit more. I won't fight with you over it." Shi, who was about to bid, swallowed her words. This Sima Yue was sure that she didn't bring much money. Otherwise, she wouldn't have let the Alchemist Guild bid 80 million for the 100 Revolutions pill. She wanted to continue bidding, but if Sima Yue really wasn't willing to bid, and she didn't have much money, then she would forever be blacklisted by the ugly person. The West Moon Kingdom's emperor had always said not to offend this auction house. This meant that even the royal family couldn't afford to offend them. If this really happened tonight, then she wouldn't be able to answer to her royal father. "You win." She retracted her hand and didn't bid anymore. She hoped that others would bid, but the wealthiest Alchemist Guild's spirit masters were the fire attribute. The Beast Tamer Guild liked books on mental strength. The Alchemist Guild also didn't want to make an enemy out of Sima Yue. They had already withdrawn from the bidding. Thus, Sima Yue used 80 million to bid for this spirit skill. When the last item was auctioned off, the oppressive aura disappeared. The spirit paragon left. Tonight's auction has come to an end. The items have already been delivered to everyone's hands. Those who bid can leave through our teleportation array. Junlan said, "I'm very happy to have spent this wonderful night with everyone. See you next time." After saying this, she turned around and left the stage. The auction house's doors opened, and those people left one after another. Sima Yue waited until most of the people below had left before she stood up and left the room. The servant girl outside was still waiting for her. "Your Honor, please follow me." Her item hadn't been delivered yet. She knew that the other party was waiting for her to go personally. The servant girl brought her to her room. Sima Yue wasn't worried that they would do anything harmful to her. Although Chongming didn't come, he was currently sitting in the auction house. "Your servant greets your honor." Junlan came in from outside and bowed to Sima Yue with a smile. "Miss Junlan." Sima Yue wasn't surprised to see her and nodded at her. Junlan saw Sima Yue's reaction and knew that she was putting on an act. However, she didn't say anything. She turned around and took a tray from the servant girl beside her, saying, "This is the book you bid for and the remaining money after bidding for the spirit skill. As our esteemed guest, we only take 10,000 as a service fee. If it's someone else, we'll charge you 3%. A 3% service fee. 2,850,000 was 85,000. This meant that they were giving her a discount of 70,000. He was trying to get on her good side. "Thank you." Sima Yue calmly placed the spirit skill and the crystal card with 1,040,000 gold coins into her spatial ring. "Also, our pavilion master said that to thank your honor for selling the 100 Revolutions pill formula to us, he would like to give your honor a few small gifts. He hopes that your honor will kindly accept them." After Junlan finished speaking, she took out another tray and placed a spatial ring on it. Sima Yue was a little surprised by this. Although she knew how rich this ugly person was after tonight and regretted selling the formula for 600,000, she didn't have any other thoughts. She didn't think that the other party would take the initiative to give her something. However, it was just enough to make up for the disappointment in her heart. Please remember our address. Download it here. Chapter 198. She took the spatial ring and put it on her finger without even looking inside. "Many thanks for that," she said. "Is there anything else?" "No more." Junlan saw that Sima Yue was neither pretentious nor arrogant, so she had a good impression of her. She smiled and said, "The others should have left by now. I'll bring you to the teleportation array." "Thank you." "Please." Junlan brought Sima Yue to the teleportation portal and sent her off personally. She only heaved a sigh of relief when she saw Sima Yue disappear into the portal. Mississippi, Master Li and his master appeared behind her. So this Junlan was actually Ugly Person's daughter. Who would have thought that she would personally host tonight's auction? Old Master, that esteemed one is a little unhappy, but he probably doesn't hold a grudge against us. Junlan said, next time, don't do something so imprudent. Once such a person knew that he had been tricked, it was impossible for him to not care. If they hold a grudge against us, it will be a big problem for us. Do you understand? You're right, young miss, the old man replied. All right, you can all leave. Junlan waved her hand and said, Miss, how long do you plan to stay here this time? Manager Lee asked. Junlan thought for a moment, then said, I originally came for this auction. Since it's over, I'll stay for another 2 days before leaving. Yes. All right. Change that ugly freak's door sign for me. Junlan said with a frown. But young miss, it was young master who asked someone to put it there. He even said that I'm not allowed to change. Manager Lee said awkwardly. I don't know where that prodigal is playing now. Don't bother about him. Change it for me. Junlan said helplessly as she rubbed the space between her eyebrows. Yes, I'll find someone to change it tomorrow. Sima Yue felt a little dizzy. When she opened her eyes, she did not know where she was in the city. She sensed that there was no one around and had Mo Sha retract his power. She quickly took off her cloak and returned to her usual self. After walking 2 streets, Chongming appeared in the air. Chongming, you're so fast. Sima Yue smiled at him. Wei Ziqi said that you definitely won't be able to find your way back after coming out and asked me to come and fetch you. Chongming landed beside Sima Yue. Do you know which street they are on? Sima Yue asked. You don't need to know. After speaking, he hugged Sima Yue's waist and took her into the air, flying towards the direction of the mercenary group. Ordinary people were not allowed to fly in the city, but with Chongming's aura, the people below did not sense their presence. Chongming directly brought her to the courtyard where they were temporarily staying. In the courtyard, Bei Gongtang and the others were waiting for her. They only relaxed when they saw her return. Yue, why did you wait so long before coming back? Fatty Chu asked when he saw that Sima Yue was not acting strangely. I waited there for a while, then I was delayed by something. Sima Yue said. She did not tell them that she could not find her bearings after coming out of the teleportation array and had walked 2 rounds on the streets. Since you're back, you guys should rest early. I'll head back first. Bai Yunqi said and left. Let's go rest too. Bei Gongtang patted little Tu's head and brought him to sleep, leaving Wei Ziqi and the others in the courtyard. Sima Yue said, let's go inside and talk. When they reached the room, everyone found a seat and sat down. Sima Yue took out something and threw it at Wei Ziqi. Wei Ziqi subconsciously caught it, and only then did he see clearly what it was, and his face was filled with shock. Yue, it's the Ice Attribute Spirit Skill Book that was auctioned tonight. Sima Yue said, didn't you happen to be lacking an Ice Attribute Spirit Skill? I bought it for you. Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue and then looked at the Spirit Skill Book in his hands. He was so moved that he could not speak. What the heck, Yue? This Spirit Skill Book was auctioned for 8 million gold coins. Fatty Chu swallowed his saliva fiercely. She gave it to Wei Ziqi just like that. Chongming, who had followed them in, was also stunned. He did not think that Sima Yue would actually give away such a valuable item so casually. Although he did not have much concept of money, he knew that 8 million gold coins was not a small amount. He also knew that she only had a few thousand gold coins on her and was still worrying about how to get the money to bid for the glass pearl. 8 million gold coins was a huge sum of her. Yue, this item is too valuable. I can't accept it. Although Wei Ziqi had thought that Sima Yue might have bought it for him, he still felt like he was in a dream when she really gave it to him. All right, if I don't give it to you, there's no point in me keeping it. Sima Yue waved her hands. I'm not an Ice Attribute Spirit Skill. Since Yue is giving it to you, you should accept it. Ouyang Fei said from the side. That's right, you don't have many special attribute spirit skills. It's not easy to find such a good one. If you didn't buy it, then forget it. But since Yue has already bought it for you, why are you still rejecting it? Fatty Chu added. All right. Wei Ziqi knew that there was no point in him rejecting it now. He looked at Sima Yue and said, Yue, thank you. I'm not used to you being so polite. Sima Yue said with a smile. Anyway, this was obtained using other people's money. Speaking of which, other than the ones we bought, there's still quite a bit left. We can be considered as rich people now. That's right. This is the money from the auction for your cold ice pill. We got it back for you. Wei Ziqi said as he took out a crystal card. Sima Yue received the crystal card and took out the one Ouyang Fei gave her. She returned it to him and said, I didn't use it, but thank you. Ouyang Fei didn't say anything and nodded his head, keeping the crystal card. What a pity. One of the 100 Revolutions pills was actually bought by that which Qin won. Fatty Chu thought of this and felt a little depressed. You think that Qin Wan could really eat that 100 Revolutions pill? Wei Ziqi asked with a smile. Didn't she buy it? Fatty Chu looked at him suspiciously. But she didn't buy it. Ouyang Fei said. With their reminder, Fatty Chu instantly understood. You're saying that she didn't buy the 100 Revolutions pill and went to ask Qin Wan for it. Not only Qin Wan, I think that the other person who bought it also didn't have the fortune to enjoy it. Wei Ziqi said. It would be best if you could eat too. It would definitely give she some ideas. She wouldn't dare to touch the Alchemist Guild, but the other two powers might not. That night, Qin Wan and her father returned to the mercenary group. Just as they were about to take the pill, someone came in to report that the princess had arrived. Qin Ming's face sunk when he heard the report. He was about to let Qin Wan eat the pill, but he didn't expect that she had already brought 2 elders in. At the same time, the other power that had bought the 100 Revolutions pill also had 2 elders bringing a group of people to knock on their door. Chapter 199. On the second day, Ugly Person changed its name. Ugly Person was shrunk into a very small word, and below it were 3 words written in flamboyant calligraphy. Xian Yuan Pavilion. When Sima Yue heard by Yunqi say this as a joke, she immediately thought of Dongchun Kingdom's Xian Yuan Pavilion. She wondered if the two were related. However, this had nothing to do with her, and she did not think about it. Instead, she placed all her attention on Little Tuesday. She had already unblocked Little Two's meridians twice. Little Two said that he could already feel spiritual energy, but he could not guide it into his body. Now that she had nothing to do in West Moon Kingdom, she could go to Central Wu Kingdom after unblocking all of Little Two's meridians. 3 days after the auction ended, she unblocked Little Two's meridians once again. Little Two held the cold ice pill. Thinking about how this pill was sold for 30,000 gold coins at the auction, he felt that it was very important. It was not the pill, but Sima Yue's kindness to him. Sima Yue saw Little Two holding the pill in a daze and lightly flicked his forehead, saying, Why aren't you eating it? Why are you in a daze? Little Two came back to his senses and ate the pill, then waited for the pill to take effect. Just as Sima Yue was unblocking Little Two's meridians, she went to the domineering army again. Greetings to Princess. Although they were unhappy with she forcefully buying the 100 Revolutions pill, Qin Ming and the rest still bowed to her. Uncle, I've come this time to tell you something. She sat down and looked at Qin Ming. I found out who killed little uncle. You found out? Qin Ming looked at she in shock, secretly sighing that the imperial family's power was indeed much stronger. She nodded, saying, When Imperial Mother received news of little uncle's death, she sent people to investigate. When I came out of seclusion this morning, Imperial Mother sent the news over. What did your Imperial Mother say? Qin Ming asked. She said that it was done by those people from the Sangol army. Sima Yue, Wei Ziqi, Bei Gongtang, Ouyang Fei, and someone they called Fatty. She said. Bei Gongtang? Qin Wan cried out in surprise. Isn't she the one who beat me up back then? I heard them calling each other Bei Gong, Ziqi, and so on. So it's those people. She recalled the time when she was teased by Sima Yue and her expression turned ugly. It was as if she wanted to tear her to shreds. Then I will immediately bring some men to bring those people here to be dealt with. Qin Ming said as he stood up, killing my younger brother and still daring to come to Peace City. These people are indeed bold. Accompany your cousin. With that, he strode out and called a few people over to the Sangol mercenary group. Bai Yun-chun was in the midst of discussing the mission he had just received with the other captains of the regiment. He said, "This mission is not ordinary, and I intend to go personally. Ran, after I leave, I'll leave the matters of the group to you." "All right, don't worry." Sun Ran nodded and said, "But you still have to bring a few more people. It's better to be safe than sorry." I know." Bai Yun-chun said, "Next, let's make a detailed plan for this mission." A guard came in and said, "Regiment Commander, the domineering regiment commander has come." "Qin Ming? What did he come here for?" Sun Ran asked. The two mercenary groups had never been on good terms. Why did Qin Ming suddenly run over? Could it be that they found out about Qin Wu's death? The guard had not returned when Qin Wu's voice sounded. "What are you doing?" "Naturally. I'm here to ask for an explanation from your Sangol mercenary group." Following his voice, Qin Ming stepped over the threshold and entered the meeting room. Seeing Qin Wu, Bai Yun-chun stood up with a whoosh and said coldly, "Qin Ming, what did you bring people here for?" Qin Ming stood in the middle of the meeting room and flicked his sleeves, saying, "I already said that I'm here to ask for an explanation." "What explanation?" "My younger brother Qin Wu was killed by Sima Yue and the others. Right now, those people are with you. I want you to hand them over." Bai Yun-chun's eyes narrowed. It was indeed this matter. How did they find out? What does your younger brother being killed have to do with our guests? Go back. If you want to find someone to take revenge, go find the spirit beasts in the Sophia mountain range. Sun Ran said without any trace of politeness. We've already found out. My younger brother was killed by Sima Yue and the others. Furthermore, these people are with you right now. I advise you to hand them over." Qin Ming said, "Princess already knows about this matter and wants us to capture the culprits that killed my younger brother. I think that you wouldn't want to go against the imperial family, right?" Bai Yun-chun and Sun Ran were shocked by this news. Was the imperial family going to take action? Your younger brother's death was his own doing. He wanted to kill my son and Yue. However, his skills were inferior and he was killed. Bai Yun-chun said, "Not to mention that Yue and the others killed Qin Wu to save my son. Even if it's just for the sake of the people, it's impossible for us to hand them over to you." Qin Ming's gaze was malicious as he looked at Bai Yun-chun and said, "You really don't want to hand them over? Handing them over is an impossible matter." Bai Yun-chun snorted coldly. "Bai Yun-chun, don't regret this." Qin Ming shouted. Bai Yun-chun looked at Qin Ming without fear. "They are now my Sangol's guests. As long as they are in Peace City, I will ensure their safety. Qin Ming, please go back." "Good, very good." Qin Ming laughed coldly. "I hope you don't regret this decision of yours." After he finished speaking, he flung his sleeves and angrily left with his men. Sun Ran watched Qin Ming leave and said worriedly, "Brother Chun, this domineering army has always been eyeing us covetously. They want to swallow us up and become a #1 mercenary group. Now that the imperial family has intervened, would they want to take this opportunity to—" She did not finish her sentence, but everyone in the room understood what she meant. "No matter what, we cannot hand over Yun Qi's friends. They saved Yun Qi's life, so we cannot repay their kindness with enmity." Bai Yun-chun said, "Leader, I think that Qin Ming did not come with good intentions. Why don't we give up on this mission and leave our men in Peace City, just in case?" Someone suggested. Bai Yun-chun thought for a while and shook his head. "This mission is very important to our mercenary group. If we give it up, we don't know when we will encounter it again. How about this? I will leave my men in Peace City and only bring a few men with me." Qin Ming brought his men away from the sand gulls and turned into a street. The anger on his face disappeared and turned into a smile. "Leader, that Bai Yun-chun actually did not want to hand over the people. He really doesn't want to live anymore." Someone beside Qin Ming said, "I know that he will not hand them over." Qin Ming said, "Then why do we still make this trip?" What I want is for him to not hand them over. This way, we will have an excuse to deal with them and also have an excuse to let little sister send people over. Sandgulls, this time I will definitely destroy Bai Yun-chun and swallow the Sandgulls. When that time comes, The #1 mercenary group in the West Moon Kingdom will be ours. Leader is wise. Chapter 200. Regarding the matter of Qin Ming coming to ask for them, Bai Yuan Chun and the rest did not tell Sima Yue and the rest. Nobody wanted them to leave, fearing that they would be captured by Qin Ming's men the moment they left. When Qin Ming returned, he told Xu about Bai Yuan Chun's unwillingness to hand over the person he was talking about. He even added some oil to the fire, saying that the other party did not put her and the imperial family in his eyes and so on. She was so angry that she slammed the table and scolded him, saying that she would pursue this matter to the end with Sangul. Princess, that Bai Yuan Chun is an expert at the level of a spirit elder. If we don't get rid of him first, it won't be easy to make a move on the Sangul mercenaries. Qin Wan understood her father's thoughts and knew that he wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to make a move on the Sangul mercenaries. No wonder he's so arrogant. Shi laughed coldly. Men, here. 2 guards came in and said to Shi, "What orders does Princess have?" "The 2 of you go back and tell Mother to send 2 spirit paragons over." Shi ordered. "Yes, Princess." The 2 of them left and headed straight for the teleportation array. Qin Wan and Qin Ming looked at each other, and a faint smile appeared on their faces. "Princess, Captain, according to the news we've received, the Sand Gulls have received a mission that is very important to them. It seems that Bai Yun Shan is planning to go personally. Perhaps we can take care of him outside. Then, wouldn't the Sand Gull be at the mercy of the princess and the commander?" Someone suggested. "Oh, go and investigate clearly where Bai Yuan Shan went." Shi said. "Yes, Princess." 5 days later, Sima Yue was cultivating in the courtyard. She planned to unblock Little Two's last 3 meridians in 2 days and then leave for the imperial capital. She would then transfer to the teleportation array to the Central Wu Kingdom. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside, and Bai Yunqi's voice could be heard. She stopped cultivating, opened the door, and went out. In the courtyard, Fatty Chu and the others were talking to Bai Yunqi. Bai Yunqi's condition wasn't very good. Her body was covered with injuries. She was shocked and asked, "What happened?" "Yue, last time you said that you were an alchemist and a doctor, right?" Bai Yunqi ran over and grabbed her hand. "Yes. Are you hurt?" "Let me see," Sima Yue said. "Really? This is great. Yue, quick, say my father." As Bai Yunqi spoke, she pulled Sima Yue and ran towards Bai Yuan Shan's courtyard. Wei Ziqi and the others looked at each other and followed. When Sima Yue and the rest arrived at the main courtyard, they saw that there were many people outside. When they saw them, some of them looked unfriendly, which made Sima Yue suspicious. "All of you, get out of the way." Bai Yunqi was blocked outside the room and couldn't get close to the room. She shouted at those people. "Young master, why did you bring them here? Captain is like this because of them." Someone said unhappily. Wei Ziqi and the rest stopped in their tracks. Was it because of them that they were injured? What was going on? "Get out of my way," Bai Yunqi roared. But those people were still blocking the courtyard. "Let them come over." Sun Ranran came out of the house and said. Her voice was not loud, but everyone in the courtyard was stunned, and they consciously made a path for her. "Yue, quickly." Bai Yunqi pulled her through the courtyard and came to the front of the room. "Madam." Sima Yue saw that Sun Ranran's face was pale, as if she had suffered a huge blow. "Come in." Sun Ranran nodded at her and opened the door to enter. Sima Yue followed her in, but before she even entered the room, she could smell the thick stench of blood. Bai Yuan Chun was lying on the bed, exhaling more air than inhaling. The alchemist and doctor said that there was no other way. Yun Shi said that you have medical skills and insisted that you try again. Sun Ranran's voice was trembling. Sima Yue did not know how Bai Yuan Chun had suddenly suffered such a heavy injury, so she said, "Let me take a look at Uncle's condition first." After she finished speaking, she came to the front of the bed and took a quick look. Then, she took out a pill and fed it to him. Vitality Recovery Pill. The alchemist who was standing to the side saw the pill that Sima Yue took out and said in astonishment. When Sun Ranran heard about the Vitality Recovery Pill, she was also shocked because this was a 5th-rank pill. It was one of the best medicines out of all the medicines. As long as the person had a single breath, they would not die. Moreover, very few people were able to refine it. She never thought that Sima Yue would be able to casually take out such a pill. Sima Yue looked at the alchemist and did not say anything. She continued to check on Bai Yuan Chun's condition. Yue, how is my father? Bai Yunqi asked. Sima Yue checked on Bai Yuan Chun's condition. It could no longer be described as bad. So she said, his condition is not good. Don't disturb me. Sun Ranran looked at Sima Yue and thought that there was still a way to save Bai Yuan Chun. She took 2 steps forward and pulled on Bai Yunqi, indicating that he should not speak. Sima Yue congealed a ball of flame and controlled it to burn off Bai Yuan Chun's clothes. Then, she took out a box of silver needles and inserted a few tins of needles into his stomach and head. Then, she watched as his body slowly healed under the effects of the vitality recovery pill. Yue. Bai Yunqi did not speak while she was inserting the needles. When he saw her stand up, he opened his mouth to ask. Everyone in the room looked at her, waiting for her results. Other than the wounds on his body, Uncle's internal organs have been ruptured. His meridians have all been broken. Unless he is reborn, even if his life is saved, he can only stay in bed. Sima Yue said. Sun Ranran's body swayed, and she retreated 2 steps. Bai Yunqi hurriedly went forward to support her. Mother, what happened to you? Sun Ranran shook her head and tried her best to stabilize her mind. At least his life is saved. Although she thought this way, 2 streams of tears still fell from her eyes. Yue, are those needles going to be like this forever? Bai Yunqi asked. These needles are temporarily used by me to stabilize his meridians, so that his meridians will not continue to shrink. Sima Yue said, as for his internal injuries, he can only wait for the vitality recovery pill to heal. Thank you, Sun Ranran said. Originally, the doctors and alchemists had said that there was no other way. Who would have thought that she would actually be able to save his life? This was a bit easier for them to accept. Yue, my father's meridians are all broken. Is it really impossible to recover? Bai Yunqi still could not accept that his own father could only lie in bed like this and asked. I just said, unless he is reborn, he can only stay in bed for the rest of his life. Sima Yue said with certainty. Madam, young master, this group leader has suffered such serious injuries. It is already not easy to save his life. A doctor in the room said, What do you mean not easy? Get out of here, all of you useless things. Bai Yunqi heard the doctor's words and roared angrily. All of you can leave. Sun Ranran stood up and said to Bai Yunqi, Yunqi, send them out. Yes, mother. Bai Yunqi saw her mother like this. Although she was extremely unwilling, she still obediently sent all of them out. At that moment, only Sima Yue and Sun Ranran were left in the room. Sun Ranran looked at her and said, You still have something to say just now, right? Chapter 2:01. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. How did she know? Bai Yunqi sent them to the door and came back. When she heard Sun Ranran's words, she asked, Yue, do you still have a way to save father? Sima Yue nodded and said, Even though uncle's tendons and veins are all broken, he will be fine as long as they are reconnected. I didn't say anything just now because I didn't want the people outside to know about it. Why? Bai Yunqi was puzzled. From the looks of the people outside, just now, I'm sure uncle's injury wasn't because of an ordinary reason. If that's the case, the other party will definitely think that uncle can't be saved. Sima Yue said. That's right. Sun Ranran said. I heard those people say that uncle was injured because of us. Sima Yue was very concerned about this. Yue, you should save my father first. Bai Yunqi did not want to tell her the reason. The vitality recovery pill is still healing uncle's body. We can't touch him now. Sima Yue said, You'd better tell me more about uncle's injuries. Bai Yunqi looked at her mother and said, Father was injured by the domineering army. The reason is that he refuses to hand you over. Domineering? Sima Yue frowned. Actually, a few days ago, Qin Ming brought people over and asked father to hand you over, saying that you killed Qin Wu. Bai Yunqi said, But father said that you killed Qin Ming to save me, so he refused to hand you over. He also said that he couldn't tell you and asked you to hide in our house. No wonder you didn't allow us to go out recently. Sima Yue was furious and clenched her fists unconsciously. And it just so happened that we had accepted a mission this time. So father went personally. However, we didn't expect that she would go back and ask the princess consort to send 2 spirit paragon experts over. They took advantage of the fact that father was out on a mission to injure him. If they hadn't risked their lives to protect me, I'm afraid that my father would have died. When Bai Yunqi said this, the veins on her forehead bulged. She was also very angry. Why didn't you tell us about this? If we had left earlier, Sima Yue blamed herself. You are my benefactors. How can we hand you over? Bai Yunqi patted Sima Yue's shoulder. The domineering army has always wanted to make a move on us. Qin Wu's incident was just an excuse. Sun Ran said, even without you guys, they would find other reasons. Don't take it to heart. How could he not take it to heart? You said they sent 2 spirit paragons? Sima Yue asked. Yes, Qin Mo sent him, Bai Yunqi said. Qin Mo? Shi Yueshi's mother? Yes. Bai Yunqi nodded. Qin Ming is the elder brother. Qin Mo is the middle, and Qin Wu is the youngest. Originally, the domineering army was just a small mercenary group. However, for some reason, His Majesty took a fancy to Qin Mo and married her as his concubine. Ever since Qin Mo became the princess consort, the only one left was Shi Yueshi, who was extremely talented. The domineering army developed and became one of the 3 largest mercenary groups. We don't know how they found out that we killed Qin Wu, so they used this incident to make trouble for us. Those 2 spirit paragons were sent by Qin Mo to avenge Qin Wu. Sima Yue heard Bai Yunqi's words and narrowed her eyes. West Moon Kingdom's consort? Sigh. Just like Mother said, the domineering army has been spying on us for a long time. Even if this incident didn't happen, there would be another one. Bai Yunqi comforted when she saw that Sima Yue's expression was not right. Sima Yue looked at this family. This incident was all because of the 5 of them. However, not only did they not hand her over to make peace, they even comforted her in this situation. She really didn't know whether to call them stupid or stupid. However, she was really touched by their kindness. Don't worry, I will definitely cure Uncle. Not knowing how to express her feelings, Sima Yue could only promise like this. West Moon Kingdom's royal family, very good, very good. Yue, can my father really be like before? Bai Yunqi looked at Sima Yue and asked. Sima Yue came to the bedside and looked at Bai Yunqi's condition, saying, I need a quiet environment. It's best if everyone else leaves. At the same time, this was to prevent others from finding out about the situation here. No problem. Prepare a pool. 3 meters long and 1 meter deep will do. All right. Also, let our Bei Gong Tang, Ouyang Fei, and the others come and help me. This time, Bai Ran went out and said that Sima Yue wanted to save Bai Yunqi's life. When those people asked about Bai Yunqi's condition, Sun Ran told them everything that Sima Yue had said with a red nose. When those people heard that even if he was cured, he could only lie on the bed as a cripple, their expressions were all different. Even if he can only lie on the bed in the future, I still want to save him. Although Old Master has fallen, the mercenary group cannot fall. You guys should go and do what you need to do. You can't mess things up, understand? Understood. You can all disperse. Sun Ran waved her hand, and those people left the courtyard. Bei Gong Tang and the others stood in their original positions without moving. Those people had already told them the reason for Bai Yunqi's injury. The 4 of them blamed themselves and wanted to see if they could help. You guys can come in. Sun Ran said to them. Seeing Bei Gong Tang and the others enter, Lil Tu also followed in. Yue, Uncle, he really... Fatty Chu said as he looked at the lifeless Bai Yunqi on the bed. He can still be saved. Sima Yue said, but I need your help. Just tell us what you need us to do. Okay. The pawn that Sima Yue asked for just happened to be in this courtyard. She let Bai Yunqi fill it with water. After that, together with Bei Gong Tang and Ouyang Fei, the 3 of them took out many medicinal ingredients to refine them. They poured the essence of the ingredients into the pond. When the water changed color, Bei Gong Tang and the others continued. She went to remove the silver needles from Bai Yun-shun's body and let Bai Yun-shi carry him into the pond. Yun-shi, you have to support Uncle well. You can't let him fall. Sima Yue said. I understand. Bai Yun-shi nodded. Sima Yue let Bai Gongtang and the others continue to refine the medicinal ingredients. She sat opposite Bai Yun-shun and guided the medicine in the water into his body. At the same time, she used the silver needles and spiritual energy to connect his meridians. This entire process required a high level of concentration. In the house, other than Bai Gongtang and Ouyang Fei, there was only Bai Yunshi in the water and Sun Ran on the shore. There was also Chong Ming, who had been invited to ensure her safety. Seeing her like this, they didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Sima Yue didn't say anything, but Bai Gongtang and Ouyang Fei didn't stop refining the medicinal ingredients. They did their best to maintain the medicinal effects of the water. This continued for 3 days. If it wasn't for the fact that Bai Gongtang and Ouyang Fei had been trained to have abnormal mental strength, the two of them would have collapsed long ago. Chapter 202. Bai Yunshi supported Sima Yue from behind by Yuanshan. Seeing that Sima Yue's complexion was getting worse and worse, she gritted her teeth and continued to connect her father's meridians. Her heart was moved beyond words. 3 days later, Sima Yue put away the silver needles in her hand and took out a pill for him to eat. Then, she smiled at Bai Yunshi and said, "It's done." After saying that, she fell backwards. Yue, several voices rang out at the same time. Because Bai Yunshi was separated by Bai Yuanshan, she reached out to grab her, but was unable to do so. Just as her head was about to be submerged in the water, a figure quickly swept past, scooped her up from the water, and flew her to the opposite shore. Chong Ming held Sima Yue in his arms. Seeing that she had completely fainted, he asked anxiously, "What happened to her?" "She just fainted from exhaustion," Bai Gongtang said. Although she and Ouyang Fei did not faint, they both sat down on the ground because they were too relaxed. Sun Ran quickly came up and helped the two of them sit down. She looked at them gratefully and said, "Thank you for your hard work. I'll bring her back to rest first." Chong Ming carried Sima Yue and walked out, but was stopped by Bai Gongtang, who asked him to carry her over. Bai Gongtang took out 3 pills and gave one to Ouyang Fei. She ate one herself and gave the remaining one to Chong Ming. Chong Ming gave it to Sima Yue before carrying her away. "Yin-Chi, you can let go of Uncle now." Bai Gongtang reminded Yin-Chi as she had eaten a pill and was more spirited. "Oh." Bai Yunshi released Bai Yunshan. Because Bai Yunshan's meridians had all been reconnected, he could now sit on his own. He went ashore, leaving his father alone in the pool. Just as he was about to ask his father when he would wake up, the pool emitted the light of advancement. "Oh no, if others see this," Sun Ran exclaimed. "Auntie, you don't have to worry. You had already set up a barrier outside. The people outside won't be able to see what's happening here." Bai Gongtang said. "Barrier?" Sun Ran was stunned. That child is really thoughtful. "How long will it take for my father to wake up?" Bai Yunshi asked. "You'll be able to wake up after you advance," Bai Gongtang said. "Furthermore, after advancing in rank, he'll be able to absorb the spiritual energy in the pond into his body. I estimate that it'll take a while." "Thank you, Bai Gong Ouyang." Bai Yunshi looked at the two of them. It was his fortune to have met them. "Since there's a barrier here, we'll send you back to rest first," Sun Ran said. Bai Gongtang nodded. There was no use for them to stay here. They might as well go back and cultivate to recover their physical and mental strength. Sun Ran went up to support Bai Gongtang, while Bai Yunshi supported Ouyang Fei. The 4 of them left the house, leaving behind Bai Yuanshan, who was still advancing in rank. When they returned to the place where they were staying, Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu were anxiously waiting in the courtyard. Seeing Sun Ran and the others supporting Bai Gongtang and Ouyang Fei, they hurried over and asked, "How are you guys?" "We're fine." Bai Gongtang smiled. "Just now, Chong Ming carried you back. You guys should quickly go in and rest." Wei Ziqi went up to support Bai Gongtang, while Fatty Chu also went to support Ouyang Fei. Ani, Zichi, you guys go and take care of Uncle. Bei Gong Tang said to son Ranran. All right, you guys should rest well. We'll go and arrange things before coming back to see you. Son Ranran brought by Yunqi and left after she finished speaking. The three of you really put in a lot of effort. Fatty Chu sighed. Uncle got injured because of us. We naturally have to do our best to heal him. Bei Gong Tang said, All right, quickly help us into the house. Sima Yue was lying on the bed. Her face was still very pale. Chongming's heart was in a mess, and she didn't know where he ran off to after sending her back. A black fog seeped out from the devil's snare bracelet, and M.O. Shah appeared beside the bed. Seeing her current state, his face darkened as he said, You really don't want to live anymore. Although he sounded unhappy, he closed his eyes and activated his martial arts. His originally illusory right arm slowly started to solidify. Spirit solidification. Only when his entire arm solidified did M.O. Shah open his eyes. He moved his right hand and said, This feeling is still the best. It's a pity that it can't completely solidify now and it won't last long. He walked in front of Sima Yue and stretched out his hand to touch her face. He muttered, It's actually this kind of feeling. Sima Yue laid on the bed without any movement. She didn't know what was happening in front of her eyes. He actually used up all of his spiritual power and spiritual power. Do you not want to live anymore? M.O. Shah pinched her nose harshly. After he took his hand away, her nose became bright red. I really don't want to bother with you. But with you lying down like this, my eyes hurt. As he spoke, he took out a jade bottle. Inside, it was the spirit fluid that Sima Yue usually prepared for him. He pried open her mouth and poured a drop in. Only then did her depleted mental energy recover. Only then did her body start to absorb the spiritual energy from the outside. Only then did she slowly resume her cultivation. Her mental energy was completely depleted, and her spiritual energy was completely depleted. Her body was like a machine without oil. Everything stopped working. If it wasn't for M.O. Shah's help, who knew what would have happened to her? M.O. Shah kept the jade bottle and wanted to pinch Sima Yu's face again to vent his unhappiness. However, the moment his hand touched her skin, before he could exert any strength, it returned to how it was before. I can only hold on for a while. M.O. Shah was still not satisfied with his current strength. Although his spiritual energy recovered quite a bit after he formed a contract with Sima Yue, it still made him feel powerless. If you do this again, I'll hang you up and beat you. M.O. Shah returned to the bracelet after he finished speaking. He didn't realize that his tone had a hint of pampering. Sima Yue seemed to have sensed something. Even though she was unconscious, she still furrowed her brows. On the other side, when Bai Yunqi and the others returned, Bai Yunchun had already woken up. He was currently in the pond, absorbing the remaining medicinal energy. Father, you're awake. Bai Yunqi excitedly looked at Bai Yunchun. Bai Yunchun was in the water. When he saw his wife, he asked suspiciously, Didn't I die? How come not only am I completely fine, I even advanced in rank? It was Yue and Bei Gong Ouyang who saved you. Bai Yunqi said, They saved me? Bai Yunchun was flabbergasted. That's right. Because they saved you, the three of them are now paralyzed. Yue even fainted. Bai Yunqi said, What happened? Bai Yunqi explained how Sima Yue and the others had saved her. In the end, she concluded, Aren't they powerful? However, the medicinal ingredients they refined for you in these 3 days would probably cost a few 100,000 gold coins. In this kind of water, it would be hard for you not to advance in rank. Bai Yunchun lowered his head to look at the water that still had some color. He said, This time, I really have to thank them properly. Bei Gong said that you've just advanced in rank. Absorbing the medicinal energy in the water can help you consolidate your strength. Bai Yunchun nodded. When he woke up, he discovered that he could absorb it. We'll talk about this later. Right now, tell me about the mercenary group's current situation. Chapter 203. Son Ranran explained the current situation to him. If it wasn't for her arrangements these past few days, they would have been dead by now. Brother Chun, I think we have a domineering guild spy here, and his rank isn't low either, Sun Ranran finally said. Traitor, Sun Ranran nodded and said, not many people know that you guys killed Qin Wu, and even fewer people know that your father's going to personally carry out a mission, and where he's going to carry out the mission. However, the domineering army knows about this. Bai Yuan Chun agreed, and said, the last time I saw Qin Ming come to ask for people, I already had this kind of conjecture. However, because of the urgency of the situation, I didn't have the time to find the traitor. Then Yuan must have guessed it. No wonder she wanted to keep the news of father's recovery a secret, Bai Yunqi said. That child is also a smart child. He guessed this from a few words of others. Sun Ranran said, Dad, Mom, what should we do next? Bai Yunqi asked. Right now, many of the teams that went out on missions have been killed by the domineering army. They haven't made a move against us yet, so I guess they're just waiting to slowly cut off our branches. Sun Ranran said, Brother Chun, how strong are those two spirit paragons? One is level 2, and the other is level 3. Bai Yuan Chun said, now that I've advanced to level 3, I'm still a little lacking compared to them. That third-level spiritual elder doesn't seem to have advanced recently. What's there to be afraid of? Bai Yunqi said, since they have 2 spirit paragons, we'll just kill one of them. Father was almost killed. We can't just let it go like this. Killing one is easier said than done. Sun Ranran frowned. Mother, have you forgotten that we have someone even more powerful? Bai Yunqi said, even more powerful? Sun Ranran stared blankly at first. Then she suddenly realized and said, you mean Chou Ming? That's right, it's him. Bai Yunqi said, he's a sacred beast. Even if another dozen spirit paragons came, he wouldn't be afraid. She was afraid that he wouldn't be willing to help. After all, he only promised to protect Yue. If it's possible, we can ask Yue for help. Sun Ranran thought for 2 seconds and said, that child doesn't seem like a difficult person to talk to. It's not just difficult to talk to them. Didn't you see Zi Qi and the others' expressions just now? I think they're already bearing a grudge against the domineering army. Bai Yunqi was filled with envy, jealousy, and hatred towards their relationship. In this world, there were very few people who cared so much about people who were not related to them by blood. Using Fatty Chu's words, they were not family, but they were closer than family. Many relatives couldn't even do what they did. After discussing for a long time, they decided to temporarily not spread the news of Bai Yuan Chun's recovery. They only said that his life was no longer in danger, and that he would spend the rest of his life in bed. As soon as he told the elders about this bad news, the domineering army received the news. Qin Ming, Qin Wan, Shi Yueshi, and a few others were in the living room discussing the matter of exterminating the sand gulls. Hearing that Bai Yuan Chun had already woken up and had become a cripple, Qin Ming laughed loudly and said that they could begin. Father, why aren't we pursuing them? Why are we waiting for so many days? Qin Wan didn't understand. Haven't we been taking care of the sand gulls these few days? I want to see if that Bai Yuan Chun will be able to get reinforcements. If someone were to suddenly appear and mess things up, it would be troublesome. Qin Ming said, however, we've waited for 3 days and no one has come. This means that the sand gulls have run out of luck. We can make our move now. I see. Then, Father, when are we going to make our move? Qin Wan asked. Qin Ming did not reply, but turned his gaze to Shi Yueshi and asked, Princess, when do you think is a good time? Let's wait for 2 more days. Shi Yueshi said, Master Jiang has returned to the capital for some matters. We'll wait for him to return before we make our move. Master Jiang was one of the 2 spirit paragons. All right, then we'll wait for 2 more days. Qin Ming said, we'll let the sand gulls live for 2 more days. Furthermore, we can use these 2 days to receive those who are willing to join us. Shi Yueshi stood up and said, then we'll come back 2 days later. Teacher Hu, let's go back. After she finished speaking, she brought the other spirit paragon and left the sand gulls. Sima Yue woke up in the afternoon of the 2nd day. During this time, Bai Yunqi and Sun Ranran came to see her. Seeing that she was still unconscious, they were extremely worried. It was a good thing that Bei Gongtang and the others had already recovered. They also said that Sima Yue was fine. Only then did the 2 of them relax. When Sima Yue woke up, she felt a pair of eyes looking at her. When she opened her eyes, she saw Chongming sitting by her bed, staring straight at her. Chongming? Sima Yue's voice was a little hoarse. Why? Chongming asked. What do you mean, why? Sima Yue felt her head hurt a little. She raised a hand to support her forehead, not knowing what Chongming was asking. Chongming did not say anything else, but stood up and walked out. Sima Yue blinked, muttering to herself, "What's wrong with this guy?" Chongming walked out, and very quickly, someone pushed the door open and entered. "How are you?" Bei Gong Tang came to the bedside and sat down. Seeing that Sima Yue's complexion was still not very good, she asked. "It's not a big problem." Sima Yue sat up, asking, "How are you and Ouyang?" "Luckily, you gave us the soul fluid in advance." Bei Gong Tang said, "We each took a drop and have already recovered." "That's good. This time, I really have to thank you guys." Sima Yue said. If it were not for the two of them working together, she would not have been able to cure Bai Yuan Shan. "What are you thanking us for? Isn't your problem our problem? Moreover, we all had a part to play in killing Qinwu." Bei Gong Tang glared at Sima Yue. "However, what do you plan to do this time?" "Domineering?" Sima Yue asked. Bei Gong Tang nodded. Sima Yue laughed coldly. "If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people offend me, then I won't be polite. Then I'll call the few of them in to discuss this." Bei Gong Tang left after speaking, and a few of them quickly came in. "Yue, how are you?" Wei Ziqi asked concernedly. "I'm fine." Sima Yue smiled as she replied. "This domineering army is too much. They actually used us as an excuse." Fatty Chu said hatefully, "This time, we'll definitely make them regret it." "That's right. They want to use this opportunity to swallow the sandgulls. Then we'll make them choke to death." Wei Ziqi's eyes revealed a ruthless glint, replacing his usual cultured and refined self. "All right, then let's discuss what to do now." Sima Yue nodded. Half an hour later, Sun Ran and Bai Yunqi heard a servant report that Sima Yue and the others had come over. "Yue has woken up? Quickly let them in." Bai Yunqi ordered. "Yes." Sima Yue and the others came in. Seeing Sun Ran, Bai Yunqi, and Li Kuei, they were a little surprised that there were so few people. Bai Yunqi scurried in front of Sima Yue, held her shoulders and looked at her, asking, "Yue, you're finally awake. How are you feeling?" Chapter 204. Sima Yue shrugged and said, "I'm fine now." "That's good." Bai Yunqi let go of her shoulder and said, "Thank you." "You're welcome." Sima Yue smiled and said, "When we came, we saw some people packing up. What's going on?" Upon hearing her mention this, Bai Yunqi and the other two people's expressions turned ugly. "Those people are traitors," Bai Yunqi said hatefully. "What happened?" Fatty Chu asked. Li Kuei sighed and said, "The domineering army has spread word that they will bring people to massacre us sandgulls the day after tomorrow. They even said that those who are willing to join the domineering army can be spared. Those people are going after the domineering faction." "What?" Bei Gong Tang and the others looked at Sun Ran in shock. Seeing her nod, they knew that this was true. "Let them leave," Sun Ran said. "The fact that they left now means that their hearts for the sandgulls aren't firm enough. It's a good opportunity to get rid of those traitors. Sometimes it doesn't matter how many people there are, as long as they are the best." Sima Yue said, "It's better to have nothing than to have something substandard. It's not necessarily a good thing for those people to stay in the sandgulls. We can take this opportunity to get rid of them. But with so many people gone, how are we going to fight against the domineering army the day after tomorrow?" Li Kuei asked worriedly. "We're here to discuss this matter with you." Sima Yue said. "Yue, why don't you leave first?" Li Kuei looked at Sima Yue and the others, saying, "When you leave West Moon Kingdom and go to Central Wu Kingdom, you'll be safe. Uncle Li, don't forget that we are not weak." Sima Yue said, "If there is danger, Chongming will protect me." "That's right. How could I forget about the sacred beast?" Li Kuei's originally worried eyes instantly lit up. It was all because Chongming was too low-key and restrained his aura that people overlooked him. But Choming also said that he would only take care of the stronger ones. Sima Yu added, "All right, as long as we take care of those strong people, we have the confidence to deal with the rest." Li Kuei said confidently. Then he sighed. "It would be great if guild leader could fight alongside us." He often said that he would bring people to wipe out the domineering army. Now that the two groups are facing each other, he is the first to fall. "Brotherly, come with me. You guys come too." After Sun Ran finished speaking, she brought them her and Bai Yuan Chun's room. Sima Yue and the rest knew that Bai Yun Chun was fine, so they were not too surprised. The moment Li Kuei entered and saw the person sitting by the bed, he stuttered, Commander." "Li Kuei, when did you start stuttering?" Bai Yuan Chun asked with a smile. Li Kuei excitedly walked over. Seeing that Bai Yun Chun was completely unharmed, he said in disbelief, "Leader, it's really you. You're all right." "Yeah, Yue and the rest saved me." After Bai Yuan Chun finished speaking, he looked at Yue and the rest gratefully. Li Kuei did not think that they would really be able to heal Bai Yuan Chun. He turned around and gave them a long bow, saying, "Thank you all." Sima Yue went up to help Li Kuei up, saying, "Uncle Li is too courteous. Brother Chun, from yesterday afternoon until today, more than 100 people have already left." Sun Ran said, "I think that the day after tomorrow, I'm afraid that there will be many more who will want to rely on the domineering army." Bai Yuan Chun was not surprised. These past few years, the Sand Gulls had developed too quickly. The people they recruited were not all good seedlings, and not all of them were loyal. He also wanted to use this opportunity to clean up the domineering army. "How many of the higher-ups have left?" 7 or 8 have left. One of the senior figures has left. Sun Ran replied. "Who?" "Yang Cheng." Sima Yue did not have much influence on Yang Cheng. However, she guessed that this person should be the one who leaked the news of them killing Qinwu. "I didn't think that Yang Cheng had already relied on others. He sold our information in exchange for benefits." Li Kuei said angrily. When he left, he said that he had already been bought over by the domineering army 3 years ago. "I was wondering why the domineering army knew about our matters these past 2 years. As expected. Don't tell anyone about my recovery for now. I want to see how many of our 1,000 people will be left." Bai Yuan Chun said. "Yes, leader. Yes, father." Actually, the plan that Sima Yue and the others had discussed was very simple. If 1 came, they would kill 1. If 2 came, they would kill 2. Also, to capture the bandits, they had to capture the leader first. Once they got rid of the domineering army's leader, the rest of the shrimp soldiers and crab generals would not be a problem. Sun Ran had said that the mercenary group would not blame those who were willing to leave. However, once they left, they would never be part of the Sand Gulls. If the Sand Gulls were lucky enough to survive this calamity, then those people would not be able to return. With Sun Ran's words, many people who were still looking for excuses to leave did not bother to find excuses anymore. They left without even saying goodbye. A large number of them directly sought refuge with the domineering army, while the rest left the imperial capital. Bai Yuan Chun heard Sun Ran's report and only said, "Good." His indifferent expression did not reveal any emotions. As for Sima Yue and the others, they were cultivating in their own courtyard. In order to recover to her peak condition, she ate a large number of pills and entered into a state of cultivation. 1 day later, Shiyushi brought 2 spirit paragons and appeared on time. The domineering army's people were already prepared and ready to go. Among them, there were quite a number of people who had transferred over from the Sand Gulls. "Princess." Shiyushi looked at those people and said, "We will not directly participate in the battle. If there are people that you cannot handle, then Master and the others will take action." "Princess is thinking too much." Qin Ming said, "We have received accurate information that many of the Sand Gulls' higher-ups have left. Without Bai Yuan Chun, the spirit paragon, to hold the fort, they are now like a sheet of loose sand. Princess and the rest of the elders can just watch from the side." "That will be the best." Shiyushi said, "You have to settle this quickly. It's Royal Father's birthday in a few days, and I still have to rush back." "Yes, we will go immediately." Qin Ming said, and then waved his hand at the domineering army's people, saying, "The domineering army's people, follow me." Sima Yue, who was cultivating, opened her eyes. She had already recovered to her peak condition. Ming came in from outside and said, "The domineering army's people are here. They've come on time. Let's go take a look." Sima Yue got down from the bed and patted Ming's shoulder as she passed by. Said, "In a while, please do your best to protect Zi Qi and the others as well as Uncle's family." "What about you?" Ming asked. "Me?" Sima Yue smiled. "I want to have a good battle today, to test my current strength. What if you meet with danger?" Ming looked at the smile on Sima Yue's face. That smile was obviously evil, but he did not feel disgusted at all. Instead, he was worried that she might be in danger. "I definitely won't fight with someone who is much stronger than me. I'm not an idiot." After Sima Yu finished speaking, she walked around Halcyon and left, leaving him standing there in a daze. Chapter 205. Qin Ming led the domineering army and surrounded the Sangul mercenary group. Bai Yunqi rushed out with the Sanguls. When they saw Qin Ming and the others, their expressions turned ugly. "Yang Cheng, you traitor!" Bai Yunqi scolded when she saw Yang Cheng beside Qin Ming. Yang Cheng sneered, "Traitor? I'm not a traitor. I'm just trying to protect myself." "You dare say you're not a traitor? Didn't you tell Qin Ming and the others that we killed Qin Wu?" Li Kuei said angrily. "You're wrong." Yang Cheng said, "I didn't tell them directly, but when someone gave me money, I told that person. Who would have thought that they were princess consorts people? In any case, it's all the same." Another senior figure said. Qin Wan looked at the flustered and exasperated Bai Yunqi and smiled proudly. "Bai Yunqi, what's wrong with you today? Didn't you always clamor for your father to destroy our mercenary group? Why aren't you barking today?" "Of course I have to act like a human when I hear a dog barking," Bai Yunqi said disdainfully. "What? You're calling me a dog?" Qin Wan pointed at Bai Yunqi and shouted. Bai Yunqi crossed her arms and said, "Since you like to assume that it's you, then it's you. You want her." Qin Ming called out to the enraged Qin Wan and said to the Sangulls, "I'll give you one last chance. If you're willing to join Domineering Guild, we won't kill you. Otherwise, he would be killed without mercy. I'll give you 15 minutes to consider." At this time, Shiushi flew over with 2 spirit paragons. She stopped in midair and looked at the people below without saying a word. Seeing that all the spiritual paragons had come, and thinking that they didn't even have a single spiritual paragon on their side, many people started to waver. "If you want to leave, I'll say the same thing. I won't blame you. But if we're lucky enough to survive today, you'll never be a member of the Sangulls." Sun Ranran led Sima Yue and the rest out of the door and said to those who were wavering, "Madam." Many senior figures cried out in alarm when they heard Sun Ranran's words. "Madam, we are already weak. If another group of people leaves," Sun Ranran raised her hand to interrupt them. She glanced at those who were still hesitating and said, "Since their hearts are no longer on our side, then let's go. Instead of stabbing them in the back when the time comes, it's better to let them stand on the opposite side now." Hearing Sun Ranran's words, those people didn't say anything else. After a quarter of an hour, dozens of Sangulls had left. Out of more than 1,000 people, only less than 800 were left. "It's time. It seems like you people would rather die than submit." Qin Ming said, "Since it's like this, we'll fulfill your wishes. Don't worry, after you go down, I'll send your leader down to accompany you." "Are you talking about me?" An honest and powerful voice came from the door, startling the people outside. "Bai Yunchun, didn't you become a cripple?" Qin Ming looked at Bai Yunchun, who was striding out. How did he look like a cripple? Bai Yunchun stood in front of them like a mountain, stabilizing the hearts of the Sangulls. "Ha ha! Just because others say that I've become a cripple, I'm a cripple? You actually believe in hearsay. This only shows that you're still too childish." Bai Yunchun laughed out loud. "Ha ha!" When the Sangulls heard their leader say this, they all laughed out loud. Although the situation was very dangerous, everyone regained their confidence when they saw him. As for those who left, they all seemed to feel guilty towards Bai Yunchun. They all lowered their heads and didn't look at him. "Impossible! Your meridians were clearly all broken. How could you have recovered? Master who was in the air, said as he exerted pressure on him. However, he was pushed back by Yun Chun's pressure. Third level spirit paragon. Master who was pushed back by the pressure. You've advanced in rank? Haha, that's right. Not only have I recovered, I've also advanced in rank. Bai Yun Chun said, people of the domineering army, listen up. I'll also give you a chance. If you're willing to leave the domineering army and not participate in this matter, I can let bygones be bygones. Otherwise, if one comes, I'll kill one. If two comes, I'll kill two. Bai Yin Chun, you're too insolent. Qin Ming snorted. Even if you become a third-level spirit paragon, don't forget that we have a second-level spirit paragon and a third-level spirit paragon. Furthermore, you've just become a spirit paragon. How can you compare to spirit paragon Lu, who has been a third-level spirit paragon for many years? Even if you didn't die, let's do it again today. Spirit paragon Lu said indifferently. Aside from being a little surprised when he saw Bai Yin Chun, he didn't have much of an expression. Is that so? Then let's see if you still have the ability. After Bai Yin Chun finished speaking, he leapt into the air and confronted them. Qi Ming flew up as well. Looking at Bai Yin Chun, he said, including me, we have a total of 3 spirit paragons. Do you think that a single spirit paragon like you can reverse the situation? Who said that we only have a single spirit paragon? Bai Yunqi looked at Qin Ming with ridicule. I've already said that people who hear rumors are very childish. You still don't admit it. Don't tell me that you can find 2 more spirit paragons. Do you think that spirit paragons are cabbages? Qin Wan snorted disdainfully at his words. Are you stupid? The most concentrated is the essence. We only need 1 person to take care of all of you. Fatty Chu said while rubbing his nose. Image. Ouyang Fei reminded him indifferently from the side. When did he have an image? Wei Ziqi smiled faintly. That's true. Ouyang Fei nodded. Hey. I just felt that I was very imposing. Why did you guys tear down my stage? Fatty Chu said unhappily. This isn't called tearing down your stage. Tearing down a stage isn't done in this way. Fatty, your words are inappropriate. Sima Yue also joined in. The 5 of them were chatting and laughing. There was no sense of danger at all. This made the other party very unhappy. Sima Yue, you're the one who killed my 5th uncle. Today, I will definitely kill you to avenge my 5th uncle. Qin Wan shouted. You? Sima Yue glanced at her and said indifferently, you're not qualified. If she's not qualified, then what about me? She looked directly at Sima Yue, setting her as her opponent. Sima Yue didn't like to raise her head to look at people. She flew into the air and looked at Shi, saying, why do you women always like to fight with me? I'm not interested in women. Why don't we let our Bei Gong spar with you? Bei Gong Tang just happened to fly to Sima Yue's side. She looked at Shi and nodded, saying, I'll reluctantly help you deal with this. A bunch of arrogant people. Spirit Paragon, who saw that they were looking down on Shi and exerted pressure on them. He wanted to annoy them, but that pressure had no effect on them at all. This made the 2 mercenary groups extremely shocked. Chapter 206. How is this possible? Even Spirit Supremacy, who couldn't believe it? He was well aware of Spirit Supremacy, whose aura. Spirit Supremacy, whose aura was much stronger than others. Spirit Supremacy, whose aura was even stronger than others. However, Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang did not feel anything at all. Could it be that they were spiritual venerables? Many people thought so, but they quickly dismissed this idea. How could such a young spiritual venerable be possible? How can you resist Master Hu's pressure? Could it be that the 2 of you have some kind of treasure on you? Shi looked at the 2 of them suspiciously. I wish we had such a treasure too, don't I, Bei Gong? Sima Yue said. Bei Gong Tang nodded, agreeing with Sima Yue's idea. If it wasn't for the help of the treasure, how could you possibly withstand this pressure? Shi didn't believe it. If you practice like this, you'll be able to do it, right, Halcyon? After Sima Yue finished speaking, she glanced at Halcyon, who was standing on the rooftop without moving. Chongming understood what she meant and flew to her side. Someone from Domineering Army recognized him and exclaimed, "Ah, I remember now. He's the sacred beast that started the spirit beasts in Mountain Water City a while ago." Sacred beast. There was an uproar below. Everyone's eyes were wide open, and their jaws were about to drop to the ground. Halcyon glanced at Spirit Sovereign Hu. That gaze made his body stiffen, and he fell from the sky. Chongming's identity had reversed the entire situation, making the onlookers' jaws drop. Those who had left were filled with regret. They felt that Sand Gull was going to die, so they wanted to leave. However, the appearance of this sacred beast was enough to wipe out everyone in the Domineering Army. Qin Ming and the rest were scared silly. With a sacred beast, how could they still fight? If they had known earlier that the other party had a sacred beast, they would definitely have waited for Sima Yue and the rest to leave before attacking. Now that things were like this, they couldn't retreat even if they wanted to. Sima Yue smirked. "I heard that Leader Qin asked Uncle Bai to hand us over. We are here now. What do you plan to do? Do you want us to bring our heads here?" Without waiting for the other party to reply, she continued, "Yes, you even plan to use us as an excuse to destroy the Sand Gulls. We can't agree to that. Yue, why are you still talking nonsense with them? They've already come all the way to our doorstep. No matter what, we'll make sure they don't return today," Bai Yunqi shouted. Sima Yue nodded and said, "Chongming said that he won't attack those who are weak. It's too damaging to his dignity. So you have to deal with those who are below spiritual venerable by yourselves. Oh, that master he's the one who injured Uncle. Chongming, don't kill him. Leave him for Uncle to avenge himself." Yue, this is the first time I've felt that you're so slow." Fatty Chu couldn't suppress the fighting spirit in his body and raised his fist as he charged towards the other party. Once he moved, the Sand Gulls who had been suppressing their anger also moved. They had accumulated too much anger in their hearts over the past 2 days. Today, they could vent it all out, so everyone's fighting spirit was very strong. Although Sima Yue had said that Chongming wouldn't attack those who were weak, once they thought that he was a member of the Sand Gulls, the small fries from the Domineering Army were scared stiff and their fighting spirit plummeted. Although the Domineering Army had about twice the number of the Sand Gulls, their fighting spirit was far from the Sand Gulls. They had been at a disadvantage since the beginning. Sima Yue looked at the chaotic scene below and said, "I'll leave this to you guys." After speaking, she went down to join the battle. "I'll also experience your strength." After she finished speaking, she attacked Bei Gongtang. The two of them fought further and further in the air. Bai Yunshun also attacked Spiritual Venerable Hu, leaving Spiritual Venerable Lu to guard against Chongming. Chongming sighed and said, "Actually, I don't like to kill people. But who asked you to provoke her?" After speaking, he closed his eyes. When he opened them again, there were only 2 pupils in his eyes. He stared straight at Spiritual Venerable Lu. His expression changed, and Spiritual Venerable Lu was immediately imprisoned. "Break," Chongming said faintly, and the space that imprisoned Spiritual Venerable Lu immediately broke apart. His body also turned into a bloody mist. This scene caused the people below to be stunned. He had only stood in his original position without moving, but he had already exterminated a 3rd-level Spiritual Venerable. Not even a trace of him was left. Even Sima Yue shivered when she saw this scene. If he had directly used this move on her at that time, would Qi Yin still be able to save her? The scene of Spiritual Venerable Lu being killed fiercely attacked everyone's hearts. The difference between the 2 sides' auras was once again pulled apart. The City Lord of Peace City had originally said that he was going to save Shiyu Shi, but when he saw Chongming, he was so scared that he immediately retreated back to the City Lord's residence. Oh my God, how did this Domineering Army provoke such an existence? The City Lord slapped his chest and cursed. It was a good thing that he did not express his loyalty to help Shiyu Shi from the start. Otherwise, he would have become a soul under this blade. Many powers had the same thoughts. It was a good thing that they did not participate in this matter. As for those powers that had a good relationship with the Sand Gulls in the past, but did not extend a helping hand this time. They were endlessly regretful. With an existence like a sacred beast, how could the Sand Gull's future development be bad? Huh. I've never fought with so many people before. Fatty Chu waved his fists. One punch was enough to deal with one person. He was very satisfied. Sima Yi looked for those who were a little more powerful to battle. However, those people had been scared silly by Halcyon and were not her match at all. Her thoughts of looking for someone to have a good battle were dashed. It was as if she had fiercely thrown a punch, but had only hit a ball of cotton. This caused her to feel extremely gloomy. This battle continued for an entire day. The few streets in front of the Sand Gulls were filled with corpses. Those people who came really did not return. Shi Yuxi and Bei Gongtang's strength were comparable. In the final battle, she was unfortunately killed by Bei Gongtang. Fatty Chu looked at the corpse on the ground and shook his head, saying, "A good princess just had to participate in this matter. It's too late to regret now. Her strength is indeed not bad. If not for Bei Gong training in the mountains for so long, I'm afraid that she would not be her opponent." Wei Ziqi said, "In any case, she's not a good person." Ouyang Fei said, "What he did not say was that it was fine to kill her. This princess is very loved by the West Moon Kingdom's emperor. If we kill her, won't we completely offend the West Moon Kingdom's royal family?" Bei Gongtang said apologetically, "What's there to be afraid of? We'll deal with whatever comes our way. If the West Moon Kingdom's royal family has any brains, they should not have come to find trouble with us. Otherwise, we'll make them restless." Sima Yue shrugged. She did not take this to heart. At worst, she would just say that Chongming killed her and they wanted revenge. All right, go find Chongming for revenge. Chongming seemed to have sensed her thoughts and lowered his head to look at her. She did not know what he was thinking. Chapter 207. It was within everyone's expectations that the three great mercenary groups would become two great mercenary groups. After all, everyone had already heard about the domineering army and the Sand Gulls a few days ago. However, no one expected the domineering mercenary group to be annihilated. This caused many people to lose their bets. Bai Yunshan and the others did not have the time to care about the opinions of the people outside, because he was currently leading the fire and water attribute members of the mercenary group to clean up the corpses in front of them. They had originally wanted to burn it all, but Fatty Chu had told them that these people had done many bad things over the years and had stolen many things, so they definitely had quite a collection. Those spatial rings and whatnot shouldn't be wasted, as they might be able to accumulate quite a bit of wealth after collecting them. At the very least, those 1,000 rings would still be worth some money. Therefore, those people could only turn over the corpses one by one and collect all the spatial rings on the corpses. Then, they let the fire attribute people burn the corpses and the water attribute people wash the streets. Peace City was destined to be sleepless tonight. Many people looked at the fiery red sky in this direction and lamented the impermanence of the world. The domineering mercenary group was gone just like that. Many people were not used to it. If Sima Yue knew about this, she would definitely spit at them. "You guys are masochists." Sima Yue, Bei Gongtang, and the others had refined many lower-grade pills for the injured people. They were already familiar with these pills and could refine a lot in one furnace. Furthermore, their refining speed was especially fast. The three of them finished refining pills for 400 to 500 people in one night. "Yue, thank you." Bai Yunxi took the pills from Sima Yue and thanked her. "If it weren't for you, I think we would have been doomed. But we've gotten ourselves into bigger trouble, and we might even implicate you." Sima Yue said, "Are you talking about killing Shi Yueshi and the two spirit paragons?" Sima Yue nodded. "You don't have to worry about this. Our West Moon Kingdom's emperor is still very open-minded. The most important thing is that he knows how to judge the situation. He clearly knows that a sacred beast is involved in this matter, so he will not pursue this matter any further." Sun Ranran said, "Right, unless he dares to use the entire West Moon Kingdom to fight against the sacred beast." Bai Yunxi said, "But isn't that Shi Yuxi favored by the royal family?" Fatty Chu said, "One is Shi Yuxi, One is a sacred beast. Which one do you think you will choose? Wei Zi Qi asked. Of course it's a sacred beast, Fatty Chu said with certainty. Therefore, His Majesty the Emperor should be the same. If he dares to touch you, we don't mind bringing Chongming back to deal with all of them. At most, I'll just make him run for his life before I escape. Sima Yue said, we're going to the capital anyway. With their abilities, it's impossible that they don't know where we are. When the time comes, I'll go with you. Bai Yunqi said without even thinking. We will go straight to Zhongwu country after we reach the imperial capital. What are you going to do there? Sima Yue disagreed. I'll go with you. If anything happens, I can go with you, Bai Yunqi said. Not good. Wei Ziqi shook his head and said, the few of us have no roots here. If we cause trouble, we can just leave. You have a Sangul army behind you. If anything happens, they will be implicated. But relax. With Chongming around, do you still have to worry about her safety? Sima Yue said. Bai Yunqi looked at Chongming, who had been quiet the whole time, and said, that's true. No matter what, we will settle this matter thoroughly before leaving West Moon Country. Bei Gong Tang said, Aya, it's been a tiring day. Let's go back and rest. Sima Yue stretched lazily and said to Sun Ran, Madam, we won't disturb you from cleaning up the mess. All right, you can go back and rest. If anything happens, I will find someone to inform you. Sun Ran said with a smile. She was referring to if the royal family came to find trouble. Sima Yue and the rest went back to rest. They had just reached the courtyard when they saw Little Two pouncing over. Big brother, big sister, are you guys okay? Little Two pounced into Bei Gong Tang's embrace and raised his head to ask. We're fine. Were you scared? Bei Gong Tang patted his head. No, I've been staying in the enchantment that Little Roar set up. I know that the people outside can't hurt me. Little Two said. Before Sima Yue left, she let Little Roar set up an enchantment to surround this place. The enchantment could withstand the aftermath of the battle. Little Two stayed inside the enchantment the whole time, watching the people in the air fight intensely. He did not take a step out. He had always been very sensible. He knew that it was dangerous outside, so he did not go out. He was not like the other little kids who would run everywhere out of curiosity or fear. Little Two, rest well. In 2 days, I will help you clear your meridians for the last time. After she finished speaking, she went back to the house. Wei Ziqi and the rest were indeed very tired. They all went back to rest. Bei Gong Tang patted Little Two's head and also went back. Little Two stood in the courtyard and looked at their tightly shut doors. His little face was scrunched up. He did not feel happy because he was about to be able to cultivate. At the same time, the emperor who was far away in the imperial capital received an urgent report from Peace City. The city lord of Peace City told him everything that happened the night before. After reading the news, the West Moon Emperor angrily slammed the letter on the table. Your Majesty, what's wrong? The personal bodyguard at the side rarely saw him so angry and asked. He threw the letter at the bodyguard and did not say a word. That bodyguard skimmed through the contents of the letter and raised his head in shock. Your Majesty, the princess, she... Not long ago, Shanshui City sent news that a sacred beast had appeared. This time, she actually provoked a sacred beast. The West Moon Emperor said, if the sacred beast is angry, it will definitely alarm the protectors. We may not even be able to defeat it. A sacred beast is an existence that is even stronger than a spirit paragon. Your Majesty, don't be anxious. Who knows? That sacred beast might not find trouble with us. The bodyguard said, I think what it says is that although the sacred beast has not been contracted, it still listens to Sima Yue. If we express goodwill to her and give her some compensation, we may be able to resolve this crisis. We can only do this now. The West Moon Emperor shook his head helplessly. Then he thought of something and stood up from the dragon throne, saying, go to Warsaw Palace. In the Warsaw Palace, a woman who looked very similar to she was currently feeding the fishes by the lake. When she heard the report that the West Moon Emperor had arrived, she quickly put down the bait in her hands and bowed. Greetings, Your Majesty. The West Moon Emperor looked at her and did not speak for a long time. That gaze made Qin Mo feel uneasy. Your Majesty? She raised her head, her eyes filled with grievance. I'm here to tell you two things. The West Moon Emperor said, the first is that she has been killed. The second is that the domineering army has been exterminated by the Sand Gulls. What? Qin Mo was so shocked by the West Moon Emperor that she could not stand steadily. The palace maids at the side quickly came forward to support her. Chapter 208. Your Majesty, our child. How could she die? Domineering army. Domineering army has been annihilated. How is this possible? Qin Mo was so frightened that she was incoherent as she grabbed the palace maid's hand. Oomph. You guys from the domineering army have been rather arrogant these past few years. You guys actually dared to go behind my back for something as important as exterminating the Sand Gulls. The West Moon Emperor sneered. Your Majesty, I only feel that there are so many mercenary groups in the West Moon Kingdom, so it doesn't matter if one or two of them are missing. Moreover, they killed my younger brother, so I am merely taking revenge for my younger brother. Qin Mo explained. Revenge? Oomph. Not only did you fail to take revenge, you even got yourself into trouble. The West Moon Emperor said, you'd better stay here obediently. If you do anything else, don't blame me for disregarding our relationship as husband and wife. After saying that, the West Moon Emperor left without looking back. Qin Mo's vision turned black, and he fainted. Your Highness, your Highness. The palace maid hurriedly had the palace maids by her side come over. Several of them helped Qin Mo to the pavilion at the side. After a while, Qin Mo slowly woke up. The first thing he said when he opened his eyes was, go and find out what's going on. Unfortunately, when her palace maids received the order, they were informed that they were not allowed to leave Warsaw, and many guards were sent to surround the Warsaw Palace. She also ordered that no one outside the Warsaw Palace was allowed to reveal any information to them. However, that palace maid was quite capable. She managed to find out that Yueshi was killed by Sima Yue and a few others. This Sima Yu, he killed my younger brother, and now he killed my daughter. She and I are irreconcilable. Qin Mo smashed everything in the room, but he still couldn't vent the anger in his heart. However, because the information they received was limited, the people of the Warsaw Palace didn't know about the existence of Chongming. Thus, they made a series of wrong decisions, which made them pay a heavy price. Your Highness, I also heard that His Majesty invited a few people to attend the banquet. The palace maid said, Her Majesty's birthday banquet? Why would His Majesty invite them? Qin Mo glared at the palace maid. But this is a good opportunity. If I can't kill them outside the palace, I can do whatever I want in the palace. Nyang, what should we do? Inside the palace asked. Think of a way to contact our people and arrange for them to be near the Spirit Master Guild. Once they come to the capital, kill them without mercy. Qin Mo said, Yes, Your Highness. After speaking, the maidservant went to make the arrangements. Wait, let those spirit paragons go. I don't know what kind of experts they have protecting them, but since Spirit Paragon Hu and Spirit Paragon Lu are both dead, it's useless for those people with lower power to go. Qin Mo said, This servant understands. The palace maid bowed and retreated. Sima Yue, I'll make sure you never return. In Peace City, Sima Yue looked at the smiling city lord. No matter how she looked at him, he looked like a blooming chrysanthemum. Cough, cough. May I know why the city lord is looking for us? Wei Ziqi saw Sima Yue's expression and knew that she had thought of something bad. In order to prevent her from saying it out loud, he opened his mouth and asked. The city lord's gaze shifted away from Chongming and took out a glittering invitation card, saying, This is an invitation card that I, the West Moon Emperor, have sent to all of you. I would like to invite all of you to attend His Majesty's birthday banquet in 10 days. Invite us to attend the banquet? Fatty Chu looked at the city lord and said, We don't even know the West Moon Emperor. Why would he invite us? Since the West Moon Emperor's invitation card had already been sent over, it would not be good for them to reject it. After all, they still needed to use the teleportation array in the capital. Wei Ziqi took the invitation card and said, "We will definitely be there on time." "Haha, then let's go together in a few days." The city lord said, "You're not familiar with that place, so I hope I have the honor of being your tour guide. To be able to go with the city lord is our honor." Wei Ziqi said with a smile. "Ha, then we will go together." The city lord said with a big laugh, "The invitation card has already been sent over, so I'll go back first. I'll send the city lord out." Bai Yuanchun made a gesture of invitation and left with the city lord. After the city lord left, Bai Yunqi pursed his lips and said, "He invited you, but not us. It's good that you don't go. Who knows whether or not this is a banquet at Hongmen." Sima Yue said, "That's true." Bai Yunqi nodded. The capital was more dangerous than Peace City. If he went, he might really become a burden to them. "All right, we've already received the invitation card. Let's go back and rest." Sima Yue stretched lazily and went back. Wei Ziqi and the others also went back to their temporary residence. Bei Gongtang did not go. After Sima Yue went back, she went to Little Tu's room. Bei Gongtang was currently teaching Little Tu some basic things. Bei Gongtang saw Sima Yue enter and asked, "Did he call you over for something?" Sima Yue walked over and picked up the teapot on the table, drinking from the spout. After drinking enough, she said, "The West Moon Emperor wants us to attend the banquet 10 days later. The city lord has sent the invitation card. He wants us to attend the banquet? Banquet at Hongmen?" Bei Gongtang frowned. "I don't think so." Sima Yue said, "With Chongming around, he wouldn't go so far as to invite a sacred beast to attend the banquet, right?" "That's true," Bei Gongtang replied. "We'll leave in a few days. Before we leave, I have to unblock all of Little Tu's meridians." Sima Yue said as she patted Little Tu's head. Little Tu kept his head down and did not speak. His tears fell drop by drop, wetting the front of his clothes. Bei Gongtang saw Little Tu's tears and asked, "Little Tu, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" Little Tu raised his head, his little face full of tears. He looked at the two of them and said, "Elder sister, are you going to abandon Little Tu? You want to unblock all of my meridians before you leave. Then you won't bring me along when you leave, right?" Little Tu said sadly. Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang looked at each other. They really did plan to do so. "Little Tu, what we're going to do is very dangerous. If you follow us, you'll be in danger." Sima Yue said, "I know. You're going to save grandfather." Little Tu said, "But I want to go with you. You don't want to stay here?" Sima Yue said, "If you stay here, Brother Yunqi will take care of you. You can grow up safe and sound." Little Tu shook his head with all his might, saying, "I want to be with you. Elder sister, take me with you. Little Tu doesn't want to be separated from you." "Little Tu, if you follow us, you might face endless pursuits in the future. Do you know that?" Bei Gongtang advised, "But it's different here. Here, you can have a stable environment and receive good nurturing. You might even be able to make a name for yourself in the future." Little Tu still shook his head and said firmly, "I'm not afraid of a homeless life. If there are bad people who bully you, I'll help you beat them up. Elder sister, don't abandon Little Tu, all right?" Chapter 209. Bei Gongtang saw that Little Tu was crying so sadly and looked at Sima Yue with some difficulty, saying, "Why don't we bring him along? You're at your wit's end when you meet him." Sima Yue looked at Bei Gongtang disapprovingly, saying, "We don't have the final say in this matter. We have to discuss it with them." Facing the unknown fate of the future, staying here was undoubtedly the better choice. Bei Gongtang called Wei Ziqi and the other two over and told them about Little Tuesday. The three of them were somewhat disapproving. "We don't even know what the situation is with the Sima family in the Wu Kingdom. If they are good, then that's fine. If the other party isn't easy to talk to, then wouldn't it be dangerous for him to follow us?" Wei Ziqi said, "I agree with Ziqi's view." Ouyang Fei said, "But if Little Tu doesn't want to stay here, then he won't be happy staying here." Fatty Chu said, After we reach the Wu Kingdom, we can make arrangements for him first. Then, we can go and save grandfather and the others. Sima Yue shook her head and said, I still don't think it's feasible. We have too many unknowns. Big sister, big brother, you don't have to worry about me. Go and do your work. I'll wait for you nearby. If you want to run, I'll run with you. Little Two said. Since he had said so, Sima Yue and the rest could not just leave him alone. The main thing was that they could all tell that Bei Gongtang was also worried about him. Alas, Sima Yue sighed and said, Little Two, if we all die, you can only become a homeless child again. No, Little Two said seriously. Why? Fatty Chu asked. Little Two looked at Fatty Chu and said, If you're all dead, I'll definitely die too. I won't become a wanderer. The few of them were shocked. Was he already planning to live and die with them? Since we've decided, let's do it this way. Sima Yue said, At most, we'll put him there when something happens. Little Two didn't know about that place, but everyone else understood that it was inside the Spirit Pagoda. After making the decision, no one hesitated any longer. They all left, leaving Sima Yue and Little Two behind. Sima Yue gave Little Two 2 frost pills. She used her spiritual power to catalyze one of them, while she wrapped the other one in her spiritual power and left it in his body. She found that her spiritual power had increased a lot during this period of time. She planned to unblock the auxiliary meridians after unblocking the 12 meridians if Little Two could bear it. The remaining 3 meridians were the same as the previous meridians. They were completely blocked. He didn't know what that thing was, but it was so hard that it could block every meridian. Because she was more familiar with controlling Crimson Flame's flames, her progress in unblocking her meridians was much faster this time. After the remaining 3 channels were all unblocked, she dissolved the other cold ice pill and let Little Two's body cool down again. Then, she transferred the flame to his auxiliary meridians. Although the auxiliary meridians were not as blocked as the meridians, there were still many impurities. It was a good thing that these impurities were not as hard as the main meridians. There were also fewer of them, so she cleaned them all in one go. After she withdrew the flame from Little Two's body, he fainted like before. However, Sima Yue was not as tired as before. Bei Gongtang came in and saw that Sima Yue's spirit was not bad. She asked, Is it over? Sima Yue nodded and stood up, saying, I've already done what I can do. I'll leave the matter of teaching him cultivation to you guys. I don't have the patience to be a teacher. Bei Gongtang rolled her eyes. If you don't have the patience, then who taught me in Ouyang Yue pills? You guys learned it yourselves. Sima Yue took out a pill and ate it, saying, when he wakes up, you can teach him how to draw spiritual energy into his body. He could feel spiritual energy before, so drawing it into his body shouldn't be too difficult. Okay, you can go and rest, Bei Gongtang said. Before Sima Yue left, she looked at Little Two again. She thought that this guy was really lucky to have met her. She was just as lucky. If her meridians had not been sealed by the poison, and were blocked by Little Two's iron-like impurities, she was afraid that she would really be a good-for-nothing for the rest of her life. And if Little Two had not met her, he would also be a good-for-nothing for the rest of his life. This was also fate. She sighed in her heart before going back to rest. Little Two only slept for a day before waking up. When he opened his eyes, he saw that the house was empty. He suddenly jumped up from the bed and ran outside barefooted, shouting frantically, Brother, sister! Bei Gongtang, who was refining pills next door, thought that something had happened to him. She was shocked and almost destroyed the ingredients in her hands. Wei Ziqi opened the door and saw the barefooted Little Tuesday. He asked, What's wrong, Little Two? Little Two saw Wei Ziqi and relaxed. He threw himself into Wei Ziqi's embrace and said, I thought you guys left Little Two behind. Wei Ziqi patted Little Two's head and smiled. Since we've already agreed to bring you along, we won't leave you behind again. Little Two nodded his head. How's your situation now? Wei Ziqi asked, Can you cultivate? I don't know either. I woke up and ran out. Little Two said embarrassedly. Wei Ziqi saw his bare feet and smiled. Then let's go to your room. I'll teach you how to cultivate. And okay. Little Two smiled happily. Bei Gong Tang heard Wei Ziqi's words and relaxed. She continued to refine the pills in her hands. Little Two, who had returned to the house, immediately climbed onto the bed and sat cross-legged according to the cultivation posture. After that, Wei Ziqi began to tell him to close his eyes and meditate. He could feel the spiritual energy and even told him what attributes the spiritual energy had and what color it was. Brother Ziqi, I can feel spiritual energy a long time ago. Little Two said, You can feel a long time ago? Wei Ziqi said in shock. He could not even cultivate, but he could feel it? And after Brother Yue helped me clear my meridians for the first time, I can feel spiritual energy. Little Two replied, Then you can feel other types of spiritual energy? Wei Ziqi thought of the spiritual beast blood in his body. It was normal for this kind of situation to occur. Let me see, Little Two said and closed his eyes. After that, he opened them and said, There's water, ice. Oh, there's another type that I don't know. What color is it? Wei Ziqi asked. White. Little Two said, But it's a little rare. White? Wei Ziqi had never encountered white spiritual energy before. In his mind, he recalled that Feng Zhixing had said that there was a type of attribute that was even rarer than ice, lightning, and wind. That was the light attribute and the dark attribute. In the light attribute, people could feel that the light was white. He never thought that other than the rare ice attribute, Little Two actually had the even rarer light attribute. This was a probability that not even 1 out of 100,000 spirit masters would have. This book came from a book hashtag. Chapter 210. In Little Two's room, Sima Yue and the other 4 were sitting at the table. They were all staring at Little Two as if they were looking at a monster. Little Two was scared by their stares and subconsciously shrunk his neck. Brother, sister, don't look at me like that. Little Two wailed in his heart. Fatty Chu was the first to speak. Can you really sense the light element? Little Two nodded fearfully. You can also sense the water and ice elements? Sima Yue looked at him with sparkling eyes. Little Two nodded fearfully. It's only been a day and a night, and you've already absorbed spiritual energy into your body? Ouyang Fei asked. He continued to nod. Ha, as expected of the seedling we found. Amazing. Bei Gong Tang said happily. Comparisons are odious. Fatty Chu cried out as he sprawled on the table. Originally, it was enough to have a Yue provoking us from time to time. Now, there's another little doll. I really don't dare to think about it. When he reaches our age, how heaven-defying will he be? Heavens, why are you provoking us like this? The heavens did not hear Fatty Chu's cries, but Sima Yue slapped his head harshly and said, Your innate talent is only used to provoke others outside. Don't cry and howl like a ghost here. There's no justice in this world. You've provoked me, yet you don't even let me vent. Fatty Chu muttered softly. In any case, Little Two's talent is shocking. Water and ice, TSK. In the future, Ziqi and Fatty will be the ones teaching him cultivation. Sima Yue quickly assigned the tasks. Bei Gong is his sister. We can't just leave him be. Ouyang, your fighting strength is not bad. You can teach Little Tuesday. It's decided then. The 4 people who were named looked at her speechlessly and said, What about you? I'll be in charge of providing resources. And we'll nurture Little Tuesday. In the future, if anyone bullies us, Little Two can help us beat them up. Sima Yue said with a smile. Then, she looked at Little Two and asked, Little Two, is that okay? All right. Little Two also smiled. No one had ever treated him so well. If anyone dared to bully his brother and sister, he would fight them to the death. Thus, from then on, the god of slaughter began his path of growth. Many people saw how he killed people after he grew up, and then saw how obedient he was in front of Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang. They directly said that they were not the same person. For the next few days, they wandered around Peace City and had some fun. When it was 2 days away from the West Moon Emperor's birthday, the city lord came to find them and said that they could leave now. They then bade farewell to Bai Yunxi and the others and used the teleportation array to go to the imperial capital. Before leaving, Sima Yue gave Bai Yunxi a jade bottle. She did not say what it was, and he did not look at it. He only cared about the sadness of parting. Sigh. I wonder if Yue and the others will return to Peace City. Bai Yunxi sighed. Sun Ranran looked at the vast sky and sighed. That should be their target. Bai Yinshan looked at the much more mature Bai Yunxi and thanked Sima Yue and the others in his heart for their influence on him. Seeing the jade bottle in Bai Yunxi's hand, he said, "Don't you want to see what he left for you? Right? I don't know what kind of pills he left for me. This guy, not only is his strength high, he's also an alchemist. What a blow." Bai Yunxi said as he opened the jade bottle and poured out the pills inside. 2 dazzling golden pills landed in his hand. "Father, why do I feel that these pills are a little familiar?" Bai Yunxi said as he looked at the pills. Bai Yinshan was so shocked by these 2 pills that he opened his mouth wide. After a while, he stammered, Isn't this the 100 Revolutions pill that was auctioned at a sky-high price last time?" Only then did Bai Yunxi remember and carefully looked at the medicinal pill. He mumbled, "It does seem to be quite similar to that medicinal pill." Bai Yun-chun patted Bai Yunxi's head and shouted, "What do you mean it looks like it? This is it, all right. You idiot." "It really is?" Bai Yunxi rubbed his head and said, "Then doesn't that mean that Yue is that mysterious person?" Bai Yun-chun nodded thoughtfully and said, "Looks like she's even more powerful than we thought." Bai Yunxi had already been shocked speechless by the news that he had just received. He lowered his head and looked at the pills in his hand. Thinking about how she had said that she hoped that they would meet again in the future, he made a decision in his heart. In the future, he would develop to a higher level. In the past, he felt that his life in the mercenary group was pretty good. When he met Sima Yue and the others, he sometimes heard them talk about the world above. However, he did not pay much attention to it. Now, he felt that if he could, he also wanted to go to that world to take a look and explore it. "Let's go. Your father and I will protect you. Eat this pill," Sun Ranran said as she patted her son who was in a daze. All right. Sima Yue and the others followed the city lord of Peace City to the imperial capital. The moment they stepped out of the teleportation array, they felt a different atmosphere. Everyone looked at them strangely. "Why are they looking at us like that?" Fatty Chu shrunk to Ouyang Fei's side. "I don't know," Ouyang Fei said honestly. "There's a strong intent that's locked onto us," Sima Yue said as she looked around. "Let's leave this place first," Bei Gong Tang said. Seeing that the few of them looked as if they were facing a great enemy, the city lord of Peace City said, "Everyone, there's no need to panic. I think that the news of you guys exterminating the domineering army has spread here. Everyone is very curious about you guys. Especially your honor. Everyone wants to see your face." Hearing the city lord say this, everyone finally relaxed and followed him out of the Spirit Master Guild. Greetings to everyone. A beautiful girl bowed towards Sima Yue and the others at the entrance. "Who are you?" Fatty Chu's eyes widened when he saw the beauty. "This servant is the person that His Majesty specially appointed to take care of everyone's lives in the imperial capital. This servant's name is Yao Guang." Yao Guang smiled at them, extremely charming. People with weak willpower would not be able to resist her charm. "Did His Majesty know that we were coming today?" The city lord of Peace City asked Yao Guang. His Majesty did not know. However, he ordered this servant to wait here and wait for you to come so that I can bring you to the inn where you'll be staying. Yao Guang replied. After that, she looked at the city lord of Peace City and said, "City lord, His Majesty said that you should go to the usual place." The smile on the city lord of Peace City's face froze. A trace of anger flashed past his eyes, but he quickly suppressed it. He cupped his hands towards Sima Yue and the others and said, "Since His Majesty has arranged a place for you to stay, then we will part ways here. We will meet again at the banquet." Sima Yue and the others originally did not have a good impression of this city lord. Now that they saw him suffer, they were secretly laughing in their hearts. However, no matter what, he was still the city lord of the second largest city. They could not show it too obviously. They cupped their hands and bid him farewell. After he left, the few of them laughed. Chapter 211. Yao Guang also did not like that city lord. He did not have any ability and was only able to become the second city lord because of Qin Mo. She waved her hands towards Sima Yue and the rest, saying, "Sirs, please." The West Moon Emperor had arranged for Sima Yue and the rest to stay in an extremely secluded courtyard. There were waterside pavilions and pavilions which were rather beautiful. Furthermore, this place was not far from the Imperial Palace and could be considered a part of the Imperial Palace. It was just that it was outside the Imperial Palace, so there were not many strong guards. This place is really not bad. Fatty Chu looked at the secluded environment and did not think that there would be such a place in the imperial capital. It is really not bad. Even Ouyang Fei praised. Yao Guang sneaked a glance at Chong Ming and said, "His Majesty said that you have always lived in the mountains and did not like noise, so he specially arranged for you to stay here." "Mr. Chong Ming, we are basking in your glory this time." Sima Yue laughed as she teased Chong Ming. She was not afraid that he would get angry. Chong Ming looked at her indifferently and did not say anything. "Miss Yao Guang, when can we meet His Majesty?" Wei Ziqi asked. "His Majesty said that it is up to you all. You can go whenever you want." Yao Guang smiled as she replied, "It is already late today. Why don't we go tomorrow?" "Chong Ming, what do you say?" Sima Yue said. "Up to you." Chong Ming threw out these three words and did not say anything else. Pretending to be cold, Sima Yue muttered in her heart before saying to Yao Guang, "Then we will have to trouble Miss Yao Guang to ask His Majesty on our behalf." "Sir is too polite," Yao Guang said. "This servant will definitely pass on your message to His Majesty today." She could tell that although Chong Ming was not their contracted beast, he listened to Sima Yue's words. That was why, even though Yue did not look strong, she was the one that they could not afford to offend. Yao Guang arranged for their accommodations and assigned a group of palace maids to serve them before leaving. Sima Yue and the others were cultivating in their own rooms. Even Little Tu had entered his cultivation mode. Bei Gong Tang was afraid that Little Tu would be disturbed by others, so she cultivated with him. If anything happened, she could still protect him. Although this West Moon Emperor seemed to be treating them courteously, who could be sure of the real situation? In the latter half of the night, those who were cultivating stopped cultivating and looked outside. Sure enough, there are people who don't know their place. Sima Yue sneered. In fact, she had already opened the door and left. As soon as the 6 spiritual venerables arrived above the courtyard, they saw Sima Yue and the others coming out of the door. They were not surprised by their arrival. 6 spirit venerables? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows as she looked at the group and said, "This lineup is really big. Are you Sima Yue?" A spiritual paragon looked at her and asked. Sima Yue leaned against the door and did not panic. She smiled and said, "You've already come all the way here. Do you still need to ask?" The mockery in her words caused the spiritual venerables to become angry. "Looks like it's the few of you." The spiritual paragon who asked the question earlier said, "Do you want to kill yourselves, or do you want us to send you on your way?" Other than Chong Ming, they felt that these people were not very strong. They did not know why Imperial Concubine M.O. wanted so many spiritual venerables to move out together. As for the few who had just come out of closed-door cultivation, they naturally did not have the time to listen to the gossip outside. They did not know that 2 of their spiritual venerables' brothers had already been killed by Chong Ming. If they knew, even if they had to give up the yearly allowance that Imperial Concubine M.O. gave them, they would not have made this trip tonight. "I'm guessing that you were sent by Qin M.O. This Imperial Concubine really thinks highly of us," Wei Ziqi said. If it was the West Moon Emperor, he could have taken action the moment they reached the capital. There was no need for him to wait until now to send people over. Furthermore, he would not only send these few people. These people were not even enough to fill the gaps between Chong Ming's teeth. It was obvious that the Imperial Concubine who did not know the situation had come to pluck the fur from the tiger's mouth. However, they could also use this matter to have a good discussion with the West Moon Emperor. With this thought in mind, Sima Yue did not immediately let Chongming take action. Instead, she asked him to stay put for now. Big brother, you should just take action. These are just a few ants, yet Imperial concubine Mo actually called us over. She's really making a mountain out of a molehill, a spiritual venerable said unhappily. That's right. Rather than talking to these little dolls, it's better to go back and cultivate. Recently, I've already felt the signs of advancing. Another spiritual venerable said. Sima Yue laughed as she looked at the few people in the air and said, Your Imperial concubine Mo didn't tell you that the spiritual venerables surnamed Liu and who have already died, right? What did you say? Hearing this news, the few spiritual venerables subconsciously felt that Sima Yue was making things up to stall for time. Furthermore, she didn't tell you that the domineering army has already been exterminated, right? Those two spiritual venerables were killed at that time. Sima Yue continued. How is that possible? Who dares to kill our brothers? If you're spouting nonsense, we'll immediately turn you into ashes. The few people released their auras towards them, but the few of them stood in the courtyard without moving an inch. Sima Yue took a step forward and said, How are we spouting nonsense? Because the person who killed them is right here. Who? Sima Yue pointed at Chongming and said, Your Imperial concubine, Mo must have something that she didn't tell you. He's a transformed sacred beast, you know. When the few spiritual venerables heard this, they were shocked. No wonder they couldn't see through Chongming's strength. So, your Imperial concubine, Mo, doesn't care about your lives at all. She's just sending you to your deaths. Sima Yue shook her head and said. She looked like she was regretful. Chongming cooperated and released his sacred beast aura. How can there be a sacred beast? Could it be that something really happened when we were in closed-door cultivation? If there really is a sacred beast, what are we still doing here? Let's run. People with their strength all had a common problem. They were arrogant, but at the same time, they all had another characteristic, which was that they cherished their lives. The few of them looked at each other and ran towards the back. However, they seemed to be blocked by something and couldn't run out. Since you're here, why don't you stay and talk? Sima Yue called out Thousand Resonance, Little Rock, and Yaguang. Wei Ziqi and the rest also called out their own sacred beasts. They're all sacred beasts. The few spiritual venerables saw the spirit beasts standing in the courtyard and felt their scalps go numb. There was even a sacred beast standing in the middle. Thousand Resonance, you guys play with them. Sima Yue said. Other than Thousand Resonance's power and spiritual venerables, Yaguang, Little Rock, and the rest were slightly weaker and weren't a match for spiritual venerables. Hence, she let Chongming exert some pressure on those people to lower their strength. Then, she used the spiritual venerables for Little Rock and the rest to practice. The commotion here quickly spread. Those spiritual venerables didn't want to fight with them, but the situation now wasn't a matter of whether they wanted to or not. If they resisted, they would lose their lives. If they didn't resist, they would lose their lives. The West Moon Emperor, who was just about to go to bed, was shocked by the sudden fight and asked, Where's the commotion? Your Majesty, someone went to attack the sacred beast at night. The reply from outside almost caused the West Moon Emperor to fall off his bed. He treated them like gods. Who would dare to attack them at night? Chapter 2:12. When the West Moon Emperor brought his men over, he saw Yao Guang standing outside the courtyard. She did not enter and was only staring blankly at the battle in the sky. What are you doing here? The West Moon Emperor went up and asked. Only then did Yao Guang notice the West Moon Emperor's arrival. She hurriedly bowed and said, Your Majesty, the courtyard seems to have been enveloped by a barrier. We can't enter. The West Moon Emperor got his men to give a try. Indeed, they were unable to open it and could only watch from the outside. In the courtyard, Sima Yue and the others knew that the West Moon Emperor had arrived. However, they did not remove the barrier. Instead, they continued to let Thousand Resonance and the others fight with the spiritual paragon. However, they had them speed up. Since the main character had already arrived, there was no need for them to delay any longer. Soon, the spiritual venerables were either dead or injured. Those who were still alive were on the verge of death. Sima Yue glanced at Chongming. The latter waved his hand and removed the enchantment he had set up. When the West Moon Emperor sensed that the obstruction had disappeared, he hurriedly led his men inside. When they arrived at the courtyard, everyone saw the spiritual venerable lying on the ground. The West Moon Emperor's eyes flashed as he secretly rejoiced that he had not chosen to go against them for the sake of the royal family's reputation. Not only did these people have sacred beasts with them, even their contracted beasts were all sacred beasts. The sacred beast had not even made a move, and these spirit paragons were already lying on the ground. Even if he sent people over, he was afraid that they would also end up like this. "Are you all injured?" The West Moon Emperor asked out of concern. Wasn't this obvious? Everyone looked at the West Moon Emperor with a slightly different expression. Cough, cough. Men, go and find out who sent these people. The person behind West Moon Emperor Dynasty instructed. No need, Fatty Chu said. We already know who sent these people. Who is it? Although the West Moon Emperor had guessed who it was, he still asked. You'll have to ask your imperial concubines. Fatty Chu said. Could it be Consort Mo? The West Moon Emperor glanced at Yao Guang. She immediately retreated and went to Huasha Garden to look for Consort Mo. For us to disturb your majesty so late at night, we are truly apologetic. Wei Ziqi said faintly, but there was not the slightest hint of apologetic in his tone. The West Moon Emperor knew that they were all angry. After all, they had only just arrived at the imperial capital, yet they had already encountered such a situation. No one could be happy about it. He secretly glanced at Chongming. The latter's cold expression made him unable to tell if this sacred beast was angry or not. If he was angry, it would be hard to deal with him. Everyone, there's still some time before we can bring Concubine Mo here. Why don't we wait inside? The West Moon Emperor said. Sima Yue and the others nodded. Although they could rely on Chongming, no matter what, he was still the emperor of West Moon Kingdom. It was not a good thing to slap his face in front of so many guards. Thus, they went to the living room to wait while the guards stayed outside to keep watch. I believe that your majesty has already clearly investigated our identities. We are not people from the West Moon Kingdom. We only wanted to borrow the road to go to another kingdom. Who would have thought that we would encounter so many things along the way? Wei Ziqi said, That's right. I didn't think that Domineering Guild would do such a thing. They deserve to be wiped out, His Majesty said with a smile. Then the Sand Gull who helped us, the Sand Gull Mercenary Group, is known for eliminating evil and upholding justice. Naturally, no one would blame them. His Majesty replied. With his words, the Sand Gull was considered safe. I wonder which country you all want to go to? His Majesty asked. Central Wu Kingdom. Central Wu Kingdom? That's the strongest country among our 4 great empires. His Majesty sighed and asked again, I wonder why you all want to go there? To save people, Sima Yue said. Seeing that she was not willing to say more, the West Moon Emperor did not continue to ask and changed the topic to something else. Most of the time, it was Wei Ziqi who was chatting with him. Although he was not very enthusiastic, he did not let the West Moon Emperor lose face. After a while, Qin Mo was brought over. When she came to the courtyard, she saw the West Moon Emperor's imperial guards and was shocked. She then saw the spirit paragons she had invited lying in the courtyard. 4 of them were dead, and only 2 were left. Her heart was filled with despair. Concubine Mo, please. His Majesty is waiting for you inside. Yao Guang said. Qin Mo felt as if her 2 legs were filled with lead, and she could not lift them at all. Yao Guang glanced at her, and 2 guards stepped forward. Each of them held onto one of her arms and brought her into the living room. Seeing the West Moon Emperor's cold face, the guards released her, and she immediately sat on the ground. Your Majesty, Concubine Mo has been brought over. Yao Guang stood beside Qin Mo and said, Concubine Mo, how dare you? The West Moon Emperor's aura burst forth. He was actually a spirit paragon expert. Your Majesty, they were the ones who killed my younger brother first. They killed my daughter and my older brother. How can I not take revenge for this? When Qin Mo saw the spirit paragons in the courtyard, She knew that her plan had failed. So when she saw that Sima Yue and the others were unharmed, she was not surprised. She only felt hatred. Concubine Mo, right? Sima Yue stood up and squatted down in front of her, saying, "Why do you always put the cart before the horse?" "What do you mean, put the cart before the horse?" China Mo raised her head and glared at Sima Yue. "We killed your younger brother because he wanted to kill us. We exterminated the domineering army because your older brother and daughter brought people to exterminate us." Sima Yue said, "If we didn't resist, were we supposed to wait for them to kill us?" Concubine Mo, do you think there would be such a fool? You're just a few lowly commoners. So what if they killed you? Chin Mo still thought so. Sima Yue rubbed her chin, saying, "We're just a few lowly commoners, so our lives aren't worth anything. But for someone like Chongming, your majesty, is he also a lowly commoner?" "Who is Chongming? If the people with you aren't lowly commoners, then what are they?" Chin Mo said without even thinking. Bang! The West Moon Emperor's aura directly pressed Qin Mo to the ground, unable to move. Sima Yue stood up and looked at Chongming, saying, "Chongming, you're also a lowly commoner like us." "I'm not even human," Chongming said. "Disgraceful thing." The West Moon Emperor was angered half to death by Qin Mo's words. He couldn't help but stand up and kick her. Then he smiled apologetically at Chongming and Sima Yue. "She's talking nonsense. How can you be lowly commoners? You're our royal family's honored guests." Sima Yue's expression was still ugly. She laughed coldly, saying, "It's fine to say that we're lowly commoners. Chongming is a sacred beast. How can he be called a lowly commoner? If others knew, where will my family's Chongming put his face?" When Chongming heard Sima Yue say the words "my family's Chongming," his eyebrows twitched. This girl was bold. She actually dared to say such a thing. Wasn't she afraid that he would be angry? But why didn't he dislike her saying such things? Chapter 213. When the West Moon Emperor heard Sima Yue's words, he started to break out in cold sweat. If Chongming was angry, they would be in deep trouble tonight. "Your Honor, please calm down. I'll deal with her immediately." After saying that, he turned around, took out a sword, and directly pierced Qin Mo's heart. Qin Mo had just sat up, and when he heard the words "transcendent divine beast," he was stunned. Before he could react, he was pierced through. He raised his head and looked at the West Moon Emperor in disbelief. "Your Majesty," she called out weakly. Her body slowly fell to the side and stopped moving. The corners of Sima Yue and the others' mouths twitched. This guy was really merciless when it came to killing the woman who slept with him. However, this was the only choice anyone could make. After all, the other party was too powerful. "Is this all right?" The West Moon Emperor turned around and asked carefully. "Alas, our Chongming has said that he has never encountered such a thing since he came out. He is very unhappy." Sima Yue said, "Previously, there was a princess who wanted to kill us. Not to mention that we were ambushed today. We were even scolded as lowly commoners. This is a huge insult to a sacred beast. If it's possible, please allow me to compensate the royal family for your offense." In any case, she was someone who had lived for so many years. How could she not understand Sima Yue's words? But she had no choice, no choice. She could only try her best to appease them. Otherwise, once the sacred beast made a move, the losses would not be just this. Therefore, the West Moon Emperor spent the night in Sima Yue's living room. As for what they talked about, the people outside did not know. They only knew that when the West Moon Emperor came out the next day, his expression was very ugly. This Sima Yue, her heart was too black. This was what the West Moon Emperor was thinking right now. Seeing that there were still 2 spirit venerables in the courtyard, he said, "Bring them back. Take these damned people away and deal with them." When the guards were about to take action, Chongming's voice came from inside the house. "Since they are here, let them stay here." With that, the 5 corpses and 2 half-dead people instantly turned into a bloody mist and disappeared. The eyes of the West Moon Emperor and the Imperial bodyguard were wide open. This was most likely not something an ordinary sacred beast could do. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. The West Moon Emperor patted his own chest. Although he had lost quite a few treasures, at least he had managed to appease the other party. If Chongming were to do this to him, he would not be able to fight back at all. Sima Yue smiled as she sent the West Moon Emperor off. When she turned around, she saw a few people looking at her with disdain. Hey, what's with your expressions? Sima Yue glared at them unhappily. If they did not respect them, they would face serious consequences. Actually, there was no need for the West Moon Emperor to send people to spread the news. The news of the sacred beast had already spread throughout the imperial capital. Only Qin Mo and the few spirit paragons who were in seclusion would foolishly go up and be killed without understanding the situation. Therefore, on the second day of the banquet, everyone who saw Sima Yue and the others were respectful. They did not want to follow in Kwang Ao's footsteps. All the banquets were more or less the same. Sima Yue and the others felt bored, so they instigated the Chongming to return to their courtyard in the afternoon. With the Chongming around, no one dared to say that they were Kwang Ao. They were even worried that they might have provoked them, and thus left early. The teleportation array to the Central Wu Kingdom would only be activated tomorrow. Therefore, they all went back to cultivate. Everyone thought of the gift that they had given to the West Moon Emperor. This was all arranged by Sima Yue. Before returning to the house, Bei Gongtang asked what she had given to the West Moon Emperor. After hearing it, even she could not help but break out in cold sweat. Wei Ziqi and the others walked over and asked, "What gift did Yue give to the West Moon Emperor?" Bei Gongtang said faintly. She said that she had chosen the most valuable gift from the West Moon Emperor. Puff! Dash! The few of them immediately burst out laughing. She had taken someone's gift and sent it back. Although it was very valuable, sending it back again, wasn't this just annoying the other party? Only she could do such a wicked thing. After the banquet ended, the West Moon Emperor thought of the gift that Sima Yue and the others had given and asked the guard to find it. He wanted to see what they would give. He had given them so many things. No matter what, the other party had to give them something. However, when he saw the things in the box, the West Moon Emperor could no longer remain calm. He hated that he could not throw everything on the ground. Furthermore, Sima Yue had even placed a note inside. On it, she wrote, "We, the mountain people, do not have anything valuable. We could only choose the most valuable thing that we have to give to your majesty. We wish your majesty a long and boundless life." Pa! The cup in the West Moon Emperor's hand was mercilessly crushed into pieces. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.